The story opens on a dark night. A car hurtles down an empty road. Sister, you have to get out as fast as you can. The research team has lost it. Nobody there is right in the head anymore. I'll handle wiping all the data on Hazu. Just focus on getting everyone far away from here. We have to get out of the country before the research team catches us. So move. A little girl in the back seat, clutching a teddy bear, asks Mommy. Her mother replies, I'm here. The little girl then asks, where are we going? The mother pauses, then says softly, is our Hazu scared? It's all right, we're almost there. Hazu smiles. Okay, Mommy. Hazu's mother smiles back. Our Hazu is such a good girl. As the words leave her lips, blinding headlights blaze from the oncoming lane, smashing into their car and sending it careening into a ravine. Hazu fights to open her eyes. Mommy, Daddy, Mom, answer me. Just then, something appears, jolting Hazu awake, her heart pounding. That dream again. Ugh, time to kill this alarm. A yell from outside her door cuts through the air. Betty, turn off that infernal alarm. I turned it off. Sorry, Linda, Betty replies, sighing. There are 2 rules in this house. 1, obey Mrs. Merrill. 2, don't disobey her daughter, Linda. Why do I suddenly feel so on edge? I never wanted to live like this, but what choice do I have? It's because I have a secret I need to keep hidden. Before she even makes it out of the house, the television blares news. Early yesterday morning, the villain Jeffrey and 2 accomplices attacked the Chongbang, New York branch. However, these villains were pretty unlucky because, as luck would have it, the hero James was in the vicinity. Exclusive NP video footage captured the moment hero James utterly defeated the villains. Stay tuned to see the footage. The video begins to play. A man, manipulating what looks like water, apprehends the criminals with stunning grace. As you can see, viewers, this is our hero James. A true hero indeed. Today is November 17th, 2024. We live in a world where superpowers, once the stuff of movies, are now an everyday occurrence. 10 years ago, as climate change ravaged the world, an unknown virus emerged, attacking humankind. A genetic research doctor announced his intention to create a new breed of humans, with bodies strong enough to survive any environment. Then, as if by fate, he discovered an unidentified meteorite. He used this meteorite to create a drug that suppressed superpowers. The result, a new humanity, born with extraordinary abilities. Some possess superpowers like the one you just witnessed. And there are those who can prevent the manifestation of these powers through physical contact. These individuals are known as guides. My uncle said I'm. Mrs. Marrow asks, breakfast, Betty. Betty replies, oh, no thank you. I'll be going now. Mrs. Marrow turns away. Suit yourself. Linda, come have breakfast. Linda runs over. Yes, Mom, Hazu said, pointing at Betty. Don't just stand there blocking my way. Move, idiot. Yes, I couldn't escape this humiliation. My parents died in an accident while trying to get me to safety, and my uncle left me here, all to hide the truth that I'm a guide. That's also why I have to live this ordinary life. I absolutely cannot get involved with any superpower users. At least I'll still get paid for this month's part-time job. The amount I've saved up until now is $6,000. For months. I just need to endure 4 more months, and then I'll leave the Stefan house. I have my reasons for stubbornly scraping together so much money, and my reasons are different from my peers who just want to buy something. 10 years ago, when Linda was little, she said, I hate her. She's so boring. Betty worriedly said, Uncle. Betty's uncle comforted her. It's okay. She's just not used to you yet. Betty mumbled, but her uncle interrupted. Hazu, what's your name from now on? The little girl replied, Betty. Betty Brown. Her uncle continued, good. From now on, you must live with that name. Mr. Ralph Stefan is my close friend from college. If you need anything, just tell him. The woman beside him is Mrs. Marrow, and their daughter, who's your age, is named Linda. They'll take care of you, so don't worry. Betty, her eyes welling up, asked, where are you going, Uncle? Her uncle patted her head. I'll keep in touch with you often. Ralph led Betty inside. Come on, let's go in. Betty's uncle waved. I'll be back to get you soon. After those words, he left me all alone and went away. The Stefans lived quite comfortably. The house was beautiful, and we always had enough to eat. Even so, somewhere in my heart, I still felt empty. Perhaps it was because none of this truly belonged to me. Ralph said back then, Betty, if you need anything else, just tell my wife. Marrow, her face contemptuous, said, yes, although I don't know if you'll find anything lacking, but if you need anything, feel free to tell me. Just as I finally started to get used to that look, fate decided to test me again. A slipper hit Betty in the head. Why? Why? Why did my dad have to die? Not long after the contempt, that look became filled with disgust. Get out of my house, you wretch. Later, Betty's uncle messaged, I think I'll be coming to America next month. This time, we'll really live together. After those messages, I lost contact with him completely. According to Mrs. Marrow, he sold his company, then cut off contact with everyone, including all financial support. At first, I believed I had truly been abandoned. But now, I would be overjoyed to know he was still alive and well. Not long after, Betty arrived at school. She accidentally bumped into someone and stumbled, but luckily, Daniel caught her just in time. Betty, her face blank, said Daniel. Daniel stammered, "Oh, I'm sorry." Betty replied, "Oh no, it's okay." Daniel stammered, "So, why you go F first?" Betty watched him, thinking Daniel, despite his stutter and quiet nature, is a more genuine and kind friend than anyone else I have. Then she said, "Thanks, Daniel." Daniel put a hand to his chest, his expression falling as the others' taunts began. Ooh, the pathetic couple, off to class together again. Having fun on the bus, lovebirds. Does Danny boy still SS stutter when he K kisses? Aha, yeah, you keep that up and your only girlfriend will dump you. Aha. Daniel stammered, don't be yell like that. Stop it. Betty fumed silently. What do they find so amusing? It's both despicable and pathetic. It's best not to react. Just ignore them. Betty opened her locker door, and something spilled out onto her. What is that? The others jeered. EW, Betty, don't you know how to clean your own locker? Your stench is about to suffocate us. Betty remained silent, weathering their mockery. Just a little longer. I can endure this. I'll be graduating from this place soon enough. Wait, why did they suddenly go quiet? A strikingly handsome young man approached. The two accidentally bumped into each other. Excuse me, the young man said. Betty covered her face. James, the hero James. Are you all right? James asked. Betty replied, yes, of course. I'm Euphine. You don't have to help me. James gestured to her scattered books. But Betty interrupted. I can manage. James hesitated. No, but Betty spoke quickly, a nervous flutter in her voice. The bell's about to ring, so bye. James seemed to recognize something, but just then, the others began to notice him. Isn't that James? The hero. What's he doing here? He's even more handsome in person. James stood there, momentarily stunned. She's gone. A blonde-haired individual urged him, James, this way, please. James replied, oh, right? Yes. As he walked, he replayed Betty's words in his mind. So bye. The blonde-haired individual, noticing his hesitation, asked, is something wrong? James answered, no, it's nothing. I must have been mistaken. Meanwhile, Betty was panicking. No way. James. No. Lee Seung-gyun. What's he doing here? She quickly hurried back to her classroom. Betty, the teacher asked, what time does the bell ring for class? Betty replied, I'm sorry. Be on time next time. The teacher continued. Betty went to her seat. Yes, sir. Daniel leaned over. Betty, are you okay? Yeah, I'm Fine. Betty replied. A redhead in the back row whispered, hey, did you hear? James, the hero. He's transferring to our school. No way. Why would James transfer to this backwater school? I swear, I saw him this morning. Betty thought, so that's why he was in the hallway this morning. He's transferring here. That means I'll be seeing him more often. What if he recognizes me as C.O. Hudju? What if everyone finds out I'm here to hide my identity as a guide? Noticing Betty's dazed expression, the teacher called for order. Betty, she said, please read the third paragraph on the current page. Panic fluttered in Betty's chest. Oh no, she thought, my book is completely soaked. I can't even see the words. Quick as a flash, Daniel slid his book across the desk. Betty, he whispered, here, read from this paragraph. The teacher's voice was edged with impatience. Betty, when are you going to start reading? Betty read, her mind racing. What was that about? She wondered. Has Daniel always been this quick to react? Class ended shortly after, and the hallways buzzed with excited chatter. Did you see James? James the hero. Seriously, James. Betty walked, lost in thought. All anyone had talked about all day was James. Even on the bus, the conversations continued. Did you hear? Out of all the current heroes, James is the only one without a guide. I heard he's taking medication to manage, but the stronger his powers, the worse the pain gets. Another voice chimed in. How bad is the pain? Does it shorten their lifespan? Oh, if I could be James's guide, it would be a dream come true. I'd even share my life force with him, no problem. A girl with blonde hair scoffed. Get real. The other girl retorted, what? He's gorgeous. Betty's thoughts churned. Come to think of it, she mused, it does seem like James hasn't found a guide yet. S-rank powers, those are god-level abilities. But they have a weakness. If they lose control of their powers, it means an uncontrolled release of energy. There are treatments to prevent that. But the pain, that's something no medicine can touch. In other words, she realized, without a guide, James is slowly dying. Unless a miracle happens. Because finding a guide for James will be nearly impossible. A miracle? There's no way I could be James's guide. I hate the very fact that I am a guide. The reason I have to be alone. The reason I can't live as C.O. Hudju anymore. It all comes down to one thing. I'm a guide. Part of me hopes James doesn't die like that, because he's Lee Sung-yoon, my best friend. But Hazu, her uncle had warned, never, ever let anyone know your guide. Don't trust the government or any guide organizations, or it will happen again. That's right, Betty reminded herself. I'm Betty Brown now, not a guide, not C.O. Hudju, who knew Lee Sung-yoon. Just stay out of James's sight for the next 4 months, and everything will be fine. Then I'll leave this backwater town. Beside her, Daniel's voice broke through her thoughts. Betty, this is your stop. Betty jumped, startled. Oh, thank you, Daniel. I'll get off now. I'm sorry, right? She remembered, I need to thank him for lending me his book, too. As she turned, she found Daniel standing right behind her. Daniel, why did you get off here? He stammered, I have something to do around here. Despite his words, Daniel didn't want to leave her to walk alone. Betty checked her watch. I only have 10 minutes until work, she thought. It takes 8 minutes to get to the cafe from here. She thought of her nagging boss, his inevitable late again. Dock your pay. Betty sighed inwardly. It was unavoidable. Turning to Daniel, she said, Daniel, I have to go to work now. See you later. Be careful. Daniel waved goodbye. As she watched him walk away, she thought, he's going alone. He'll probably be all right? She was about to call out to him when a car sped past. Betty was startled, and when the car was gone, so was Daniel. Unbeknownst to her, someone was watching from the shadows. Whoa, she's off. Pretty quick, too. A little late, though. A voice with a hint of amusement remarked, Who was that girl you were with? Trying to pull one over on me, Daniel. Daniel replied, No, it wasn't like that. Then what was it? You two dating? No, Daniel answered. Gone was the stutter, the shy demeanor. He looked surprisingly handsome as he smiled. Just a kid from school. Somewhere, a television droned. We've just received news that James will be transferring to a high school in CUC View. That seems rather absurd. A national-level hero transferring to a rural public school. Indeed, it is quite unusual. However, several sources suggest this illogical decision stems from the villain, Def. So Def is hiding in CUC View. That's why they're sending James there. I thought that crazy Def was dead. Haha, it's been a while since we've heard anything about Def. Since Def doesn't have a guide, it's highly likely he's dead, right? The bell above the cafe door where Betty worked chimed as someone entered. Betty looked up, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. Wasn't it this morning? James began. Thought that we met. Betty, completely bewildered, asked, Can I help you? This can't be happening, she thought frantically. Yeah, a hot latte, please, James requested. Beads of sweat prickled Betty's skin. Why is he staring at me like that? She worried. The cafe was nearly empty, amplifying her anxiety. Here's your latte. Thanks, James said. But you're the person I saw at school this morning, aren't you? Betty sighed. Yes. Is everything all right from this morning? He asked. Looking into his eyes, Betty thought that same kind gaze. Lee Sung-yoon, you're always so considerate. I feel like I'm interrupting your work, James continued. You really resemble someone I know. Is that so? Betty murmured, wondering, could he be talking about me? Suddenly, a group of customers walked in. James quickly pulled his hat down low. Betty hurried back to her station. Let me repeat your order, she said to the new arrivals. James gave her a lingering look before turning and quickly leaving. After he was gone, Betty went to clear his table and found a note. It's James McMillan. See you at school. Betty's stomach twisted with anxiety. We'll be okay. I thought things would be different now that we're older. I need to be careful. But what if these memories are only mine? It'll be all right, right? Meanwhile, at the Mason Pharmaceutical Laboratory, CUC View, Tennessee, USA, a man was carefully adding chemicals to a beaker when a voice startled him. Hey, you. What? He snapped, jumping. Are you crazy? Be careful. The newcomer replied, my bad. I apologize. Didn't spill a drop, did I? The man sighed. One tiny mistake, and we're both out of job tomorrow. The newcomer chuckled, haha, right? Seeing the newcomer laugh and remove their protective headgear, the man's voice rose in alarm. Are you insane? Don't you see we're dealing with radiation here? The newcomer's face became clearer. Of course I do, but this stuff doesn't affect me. He laughed, a low, unsettling sound. It's a bit uncomfortable, though. The other man asked, his voice trembling. Who are you? Daniel stepped closer. Take a guess. Fear gripped the man. You're not deaf, are you? Daniel smiled. Bingo. Pleasure to meet you. The man scrambled to press an alarm button. Doesn't work. Daniel removed a glove. TSK. How disappointing. I suppose I'll have to take matters into my own hands. So if you value your life, you'll answer my questions. Unless, of course, you're tired of living. The scene shifted to Betty. She thought, I saw James at the cafe the next day. The day he transferred to CUC View High. It's been the same routine all morning. I wonder if the afternoon will be any different. First things first, I need to slip away before lunch. James approached her, extending his hand. Hey, I didn't get a chance to properly introduce myself earlier. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm James Macmillan. Betty stared at him, silent. What if I'm his guide? Even a 1% chance is too risky. I need to avoid him. She pulled her hand back. Betty Brown. Murmurs rippled through the room. What the heck? Did she just ignore James? Who does she think she is? Betty inwardly groaned. Why is the atmosphere suddenly so weird? James spoke, undeterred. Betty, if you're not busy, would you like to have lunch with me? Betty's stomach dropped. James stood up. I mean it. Let's have lunch together. Betty felt a bead of sweat trickle down her temple. James, do you have any idea what you're saying? How am I supposed to refuse this time? I just want to stop attracting attention. I'm sorry, she began. I'm busy today. Just then, Linda rushed over and threw her arms around Betty. Did you forget about our lunch date? I told you this morning. We're having lunch together. Linda tugged on Betty's arm. Don't you remember? Betty stammered. Oh, right. Ich forgot. Linda continued. Oblivious. It's okay, it happens. By the way, were you planning on having lunch with your new friend? James spoke up. Hello, I'm James Macmillan. It's nice to meet you. Linda beamed. Im Linda Stefan. Nice to meet you too. Would it be alright if my friends joined us? The blonde-haired girl bounced over, feigning innocence. James, Betty thought, are all these people crazy today? The blonde girl continued. OMG, Betty, your bestie is here. Daniel, come over here. Daniel approached. Betty, Linda. Before Betty could say a word, Linda grabbed her arm and pulled her close. Wow, strong grip, Betty commented. Linda replied. So, we were just about to ask you to lunch. Want to join us? Betty worried. I can't let Daniel get dragged into this, she thought. Wait, Daniel, not yet. She began, but Daniel cut her off. Sure, I'll come along. The two girls behind them exclaimed, Wait, did you just invite us to lunch with you? We never thought Daniel would be so forward. Haha, is it because Betty's coming? Linda smiled. Don't tease him, you two. So, Daniel's joining us then? James approached. So this is Daniel. I'm James. Nice to meet you. Daniel stammered. Why, yes. Nice to meet you too. Betty, watching from behind, thought, is Daniel always this small around others? Linda took James's hand. James, Daniel's a bit shy around new people, so it's best not to shake his hand. James rubbed the back of his neck. Oh, I didn't know. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable, Daniel. Daniel shook his head. And no, it's okay. James looked curious. But you're good friends with Betty, right? Linda cut in. Betty and Daniel are practically inseparable. Come on, let's head to the cafeteria before lunch is over. Daniel watched them, silent. Soon, they arrived at the cafeteria. Betty frowned. So, here we are. James asked, do you always just eat sandwiches? Linda chimed in again. Betty's a picky eater. Well, it's good to be health conscious, but I don't understand why she only ever eats sandwiches. You have no idea how worried my mom and I get when she does that. Betty, you should have some salad too. Betty forced a smile, thinking, is that what you call worry? It doesn't feel very comforting. James turned to Linda. You said you're really close with Betty. Linda smiled. More than close. We're practically family. We grew up in the same house. James looked surprised. Really? Linda nodded. Yeah, we're like sisters. James tilted his head. Like sisters. You two don't seem that close, let alone like family. Or am I mistaken? She only seems close to Daniel. Actually, now that I think about it, Daniel, your platinum blonde hair reminds me of someone I know. Daniel looked up confused. Huh, someone you know. James stood up. Yeah, I know this guy. A very dangerous person. Come to think of it, he's about your height, too. Daniel reacted strongly. Hands, I don't like. James looked at him, suspicion clouding his features. Is that a burn scar? Daniel continued, his voice trembling. No, everyone's hands are dangerous. That's scary. Betty reached out to comfort him. Daniel, it's okay. Everything's all right. James, you know Daniel doesn't like to be touched. Why did you suddenly grab him like that? James replied, I'm sorry. For a moment, I thought he was someone else I know. Betty said, I don't think I deserve an apology. James bowed his head slightly. Daniel, I made a stupid mistake. I sincerely apologize. Daniel stammered. It's okay. I should accept the apology. And my mother taught me that. Thank you for accepting my apology. Linda sighed. The atmosphere is so weird now. Did you have to ruin the rare moment of normalcy, Daniel? Aren't you having any more sandwich, Betty? Betty replied, I'm full. To herself, she thought, I should have been more assertive. Then Daniel wouldn't have been dragged into this. I can't deny it. It's all my fault. I just wish this blasted lunch period would hurry up and end. Just then, James's phone rang. Hold on, Lou. All right, I'll be right there. Sorry, everyone, something came up. I have to go. Betty responded, go ahead. Turning to Daniel, James said, I'm really sorry about today. See you guys later. As James left, Linda fumed. This is so frustrating. I still didn't get his number. Let's go. Her friend said, he said he'd see us later. We can ask him then. Linda pointed at Betty. Betty, I'm warning you. If you try anything sneaky with James, you better be ready for what's coming. Betty replied, frankly, I've never been close to James, and I don't plan to be. Linda walked off, adding, all right, just remember what you said today. Worried, Betty turned to Daniel. Daniel, are you okay? I'm so sorry about what happened. Daniel asked anxiously, Betty, are you okay? Seeing his worried expression, Betty was a little surprised. Daniel continued, be careful. Linda seemed really angry. Betty smiled. Yeah, I'll be careful. It's nothing really. It's fine. Daniel, let's go too. A week later, contrary to what she'd told Daniel, Betty was experiencing some very uncomfortable days. James walked up. Hey, Betty, can I get an espresso? I'll drink it and go right away. The next day, same again today, Betty. An espresso. James was coming to the cafe where Betty worked almost every day, practically clocking in. Hi, Betty. Betty asked, espresso again. James replied, you know it. That's the one. Suddenly, the cafe door opened and Linda walked in. Hey there, James. James looked surprised. You're here too today. Linda had figured it out. Later that day, when Betty got home, she yelled, Linda, why did you throw my things away? You know how much that meant to me. Linda rolled her eyes. So, I felt sorry for you, since you don't even have time to take out the trash, so I cleaned up for you. You can't even say thank you. Anyway, this is all your own bad luck. Betty shouted, Linda Stephan. Mero came downstairs. What's all this noise at this hour? Linda immediately ran to him, clinging to his arm. Mom, I cleaned Betty's room for her, and she's mad at me. Isn't that awful? Betty retorted angrily. That's not the point. Mero said coldly, Betty, stop this nonsense and go to your room. Honestly, just be quiet. Betty clenched her fists in anger, but there was nothing she could do. The next day, thank goodness no one's come in today. Come to think of it, Daniel's absent today too. I wonder what happened to him. He's never skipped school before. Could be because of the bullying getting worse. Those damn bullies. I wish they'd all trip and break their noses. If only I had his phone number, I could call and check on him. Just then, her boss called. Betty answered, yes, sir. That evening, Betty replayed the earlier call from her boss in her mind. Betty, he'd slurred, Betty, listen. Take all the money you earned today and deposit it into my bank account. It's urgent, so the sooner the better. Betty sighed. Another late night. It seemed. BRR, it's cold. Better hurry. She noticed a commotion. What's going on? This is the way I was going. People murmured around her. What's happening here? Does anyone know? Maybe a villain showed up. Someone pointed. What's that over there? Isn't that just wasteland? Another voice chimed in. That used to be a small amusement park or something. It closed down and has been abandoned for ages. I heard Mason Pharmaceuticals bought the land. Maybe it's their lab or something. Betty listened, surprised. If it's Mason Pharmaceuticals, it must be a research facility for guided medicine. The government invested in a lab like that in this small town. Her phone rang. It was her boss. Where are you, Betty? Haven't you deposited the money yet? Betty answered, the police have set up roadblocks everywhere. I don't think I can get to the bank today. Her boss's voice rose in a drunken shout. What's going on? What? Something happened at the bank. Hello, what's going on? Betty realized he was quite drunk. Betty, he demanded, then you have to bring the money to me. Now, Betty asked, where are you, sir? All right, you know where, right? He mumbled. It's not far from you. The bar in the alley at the intersection. Betty started to say, sir, can it wait until tomorrow? But he'd already hung up. A bar, she thought. There are a lot of shady places around here. It's dangerous to go alone, and I still have all this cash. Better hurry and get this over with. The crowd gathered at the scene added to the unsettling atmosphere. Best to just run to the intersection. A noise startled her. What was that? A figure in a sinister cloak appeared behind her. Betty gasped. What the? Who is that? How long have they been following me? A hand reached out towards her. I'm caught. She was grabbed. Panic seized her. Please, let me go. Help. Why are you doing this? The cloaked figure chuckled. Shut up. If you don't want to die, just give me all the money you're carrying and I'll let you go. Betty trembled. I don't have anything. Really? I don't have any money. Please, spare me. She thought, this person is insane. The mugger yelled, damn it. Everyone heard it. You couldn't deposit the money, so you're carrying it with you. If you don't want any trouble, hand it over. Now, Betty struggled, pushing against him. Get away from me. She broke free and ran. I have to run. If this money is gone, I'm finished. I can't let them catch me. The mugger's hand shot out, grabbing her again. You little brat. You think you can escape me. But the mugger's arm stretched unnaturally, like some kind of sea creature. Betty's eyes fluttered closed. Maybe I really am bad luck, like Linda said. The mugger loomed over her. I'm running low on my power-enhancing drugs, and they keep making me do this. If you had just cooperated, none of this would have happened. Suddenly, a voice called out, "Hey, that's enough." The mugger turned. "Who's there?" His expression shifted to one of fear. "You, villain Reaper." Daniel approached, asking, "So it seems you know who I am." News travels fast these days, doesn't it? The mugger thought anxiously, an S-rank villain here, in a place like this. It doesn't make any sense. Daniel stroked Betty's hair and said, "Sorry I'm late, Betty. Mind giving me a hand here?" Someone appeared, sighing, "What a pain." It was Marrow. Daniel said, "Take her to the hospital," and grabbed the envelope of money from her pocket. He walked over and roughly hoisted Betty onto Marrow's shoulder. Marrow protested, "Hey, can't you be a little gentler? She's injured." Handing over the envelope, Marrow grumbled, "Why do I have to be nice?" Daniel put on a sweet expression and said, "Please, Marrow." Marrow flushed, thinking, is this guy crazy? I better get out of here before I get thrown across town. "See ya," Marrow said, hurrying away. Daniel waved later. "Well now, shall we continue our little chat?" As he spoke, blue flames erupted from Daniel's hand, lashing out at the mugger, who cried out in terror and pain. Leaning in, Daniel said, "I might reconsider things if you answer my question." The mugger trembled, stammering, "Why, yes, sir, I'll tell you anything." Daniel asked, "Why was that girl lying on the ground just now? I'm quite curious." The mugger stammered, well, it's because she was running away with all that money, so I pushed her." Daniel's voice turned icy. "Which hand?" he asked. "Don't make me ask twice." The mugger's voice shook. My left hand." A scream ripped through the night. The scene shifted to the bar where Betty's boss was. "Heard about the fire at Mason's lab?" The boss replied, "Yeah, I saw it on the news. Man, that part-timer at the cafe called earlier and mentioned it, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal." A blonde woman sitting nearby chimed in, "It wasn't an electrical fire, you know. It was a villain attack. Reaper, to be exact." The boss raised his beer. "Nonsense. Why would a villain who's been missing for a year suddenly show up in CUC view?" The blonde woman shrugged. "Who knows? That's just what I heard." The boss scoffed, "People have too much time on their hands." Daniel walked up and placed a hand on the boss's shoulder. "Hey there, mister. Mike, right?" Mike, the boss, startled, said, "Yeah, that's me. What's this about?" Daniel held out the bag of money. "Nothing much, really. I'm a classmate of Betty's. I just need to get this to her boss, ASAP." Mike snatched the bag. "Hold on. Why isn't she bringing this herself? Something this important?" Daniel forced a smile. "She said she had something urgent to take care of and couldn't. She sends her apologies." Daniel thought, what a scumbag. Making a girl go to a place like that alone while he sits here drinking. Mike busied himself counting the money. "Don't even think about skimming any of this." Daniel chuckled. "If there's nothing else, I'll be going." Mike waved him off dismissively. "Go ahead." The blonde woman asked, "What was that all about?" "Today's earnings," Mike replied. "That part-timer had her boyfriend bring it over." The blonde woman said, "Her parents are probably worried about her, so she had her boyfriend do it." Mike sneered, "Orphaned, remember. No parents to wait for her at home. Probably just a nuisance, so she had her boyfriend run the errand." "What else can someone without parents do?" Daniel, overhearing, smirked. "What a collection of trash I've run into today." The blonde man beside him sighed, exasperated. "Come on, don't be so uptight. Lighten up a bit, will ya?" "Fine," Mike grumbled. "Lend me your lighter." Just as he sparked the flame, a streak of blue fire shot towards his wad of cash. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. "I think I might have lost my temper a little there." He paused, then muttered, "No, just a bit irritated. But why hasn't she called back yet? Hasn't she reached the hospital or something? This is frustrating." Not long after, Betty slowly regained consciousness in the hospital. "Is this not a hospital?" she murmured. A nurse approached her bedside. "You're awake." "Yes, this is the hospital. Are you feeling any discomfort?" "Oh, I'm okay now," Betty replied, still disoriented. "How did I get here?" Just then, a doctor arrived. "Betty Brown," the doctor began, consulting his chart. "You suffered a 6-inch laceration to the head, requiring 20 stitches. The CT scan shows no internal bleeding, but we'll need to monitor you closely for a while. Do you need any assistance from the police?" Betty quickly shook her head. Panic flickered in her eyes. If Mr. Marrow found out, she'd be in serious trouble. "No, sir," she insisted. "Nobody attacked me. I'm really fine. I can take this off now," she added, gesturing to a bandage. "I don't feel anything wrong." The doctor still looked concerned, but Betty pressed on. "I am truly okay." Inwardly, she was lamenting, "What am I going to do? I don't have health insurance. This bill is going to be thousands of dollars." Then, The doctor said something that made her eyes widen. Your bill has already been paid. Betty stared at him, dumbfounded. Paid? But how? The doctor explained. The person who brought you here paid it up front before leaving. Betty's jaw dropped. What? But who is it? The doctor seemed equally puzzled. You don't know each other. A young woman carried you in, but we couldn't get a positive ID from her. As Betty left the hospital, the doctor's words echoed in her mind. A young woman. But the last thing she remembered was a man's silhouette. And then, a chilling realization hit her. The money. It's gone, she whispered. That jerk took it, and my boss hasn't called back, which means he's probably too drunk to remember anything. Oh God, I'm so lucky this time, she thought, a wave of relief washing over her. But her relief was short-lived. Her phone rang. It was her boss. So, everything went south, huh? He barked. Yes, sir, Betty mumbled, bracing herself. Betty, Mike said, his voice slurred. Was that all of today's earnings? He paused, then added, actually, never mind. The money was gone, burned to ashes. What was the point of dwelling on it? Betty's face was blank with confusion. Burned? What are you talking about? Betty, we had a little incident, Mike explained vaguely. I don't think I'll be able to make it to the shop for the next few days. You'll have to manage things on your own. If anything serious comes up, report it to me immediately. Yes, sir, Betty replied automatically. Oh, and Betty, Mike continued, did you take care of that urgent matter? Honestly, even if you're busy, you can't just hand over all that money to your friend. Betty was utterly bewildered. My friend? Yes, Mike said impatiently. That tall kid dressed all in black. What if he just ran off with the money? Kids these days. Anyway, that's all. Betty was lost in thought. He took me to the hospital, paid my bills, and even delivered the money to my boss. Who was this person? The scene shifted to Daniel. Elin had arrived. Daniel turned around, startled. Whoa, you scared me. What's up? Worried about me. So you came looking. Elin scoffed. Why would I worry? Did you hit your head or something? Daniel grinned. I love seeing you riled up like this, Elin. Elin flipped him the bird. You're crazy. And who was that girl anyway? What do you mean? Daniel asked. Elin gestured to his injury. What happened to you? You're hurt, but you were still watching her. Answer me, damn it. That girl. I want to know if she means something special to you. Daniel chuckled. Elin's voice rose. Hey, I'm serious. Daniel's expression softened. You want to know why I did that, right? 2 hours ago, at the Moss Sun Pharmaceutical Lab. Damn it. I figured James would be there, but I didn't expect Kevin too. It proves those bastards only announced James to hide the S ranks behind him. On the rooftop of the adjacent building, Elin raged, I'm done with this. Daniel tried to calm her. Elin, keep your voice down. It's not that high up here. This is infuriating. Elin fumed. James, the epitome of elegance. He's just someone who corners others. Daniel replied, well, yeah, what can you do? You're A rank. He's S rank. That difference is hard to overcome. Elin yelled, why are you so calm? James did that to you. To be precise, Daniel countered, this happened when I was trying to save you. Elin, don't get so worked up. Having 2 S-rank superhumans in this tiny city means we were right. There's a research facility in CUC View. Elin pulled out some bandages for Daniel. James is such a government stooge. Ow. Elin, I'm not James. Be gentle. Daniel winced. He thought to himself, he really is stronger than before. In my first clash with James, I had the upper hand. Today it was close. Even another S-rank superhuman would have lost an arm to James. Then he spoke aloud. I'm rather looking forward to our next encounter. What's that sound? Gunshots. Elin smacked Daniel on the back. What are you spacing out for at a time like this? Do you think you're in elementary school? Ouch. Why did you hit me so hard? Daniel groaned. This Elin, she's an A-rank superhuman, and her power is super strength, you know? Daniel reached back gingerly. That slap almost took my powers away. Elin leaned closer. What are you looking at? That girl, Daniel replied. Where does that road lead? Daniel asked. To the intersection where all the bars are, Elin answered. Just then, Daniel saw a mugger following Betty. Who's that? Elin urged. Come on, let's go, or they'll catch up to us. I've made up my mind, Daniel declared. Huh? Made up your mind about what? Elin asked, puzzled. Daniel waved his hand. Elin, you go ahead. I have something else to do. Elin yelled, what? Where are you going in that state? Are you crazy? Daniel smiled. You know what? I've decided to do a good deed for once. Maybe if I die, God will spare me from hell. Elin stared after him. A guy who doesn't believe in God suddenly saying that. Hey, seriously, this crazy idiot. Back in the present, Daniel said, I admit my actions were a bit excessive, but I hope you understand it was purely out of compassion. Elin asked, are you sure about what you're saying, Daniel? Daniel replied. Do I really have to overthink it this much? It's over and done with. It's not that big of a deal. Elon's voice dropped. Look, we never know when danger will strike, so it's not wise to get close to a regular person like that. Daniel continued. I knew you were going to interpret it this way, but do you really think Betty is some kind of special case to me? She's just a classmate, someone who helped me hide this disguise. You know that. Elon was silent for a moment, then said, Fine, if you say so. Daniel turned away. Well, what else is there to say? Lay off the romance novels, Elon. Elon's hackles rose. I don't read those. Daniel chuckled. I know you have a whole collection in your room. Elin stumbled in her anger. You? That's right. How could anyone believe a jerk like you could even know what love is? I guess I'm being ridiculous, too. Daniel smirked. Exactly. The idea of me being in love is the most ludicrous thing in the world. The scene shifted to Betty's perspective. People murmured as they saw James. Look, it's really James. I even have a class with him today. Betty, seeing him, thought to herself. That's right, the tall guy dressed all in black. He saved me from that thug, paid all my hospital bills, and kindly brought the money to my boss. Could James be the one who saved me? Lost in thought, she was startled when James approached. Betty, can we talk privately for a moment? Betty replied, sure. The scene was unknowingly captured by a girl with a camera. A moment later, James gestured. Come with me, Betty. Betty followed, asking, what did you want to talk about, James? Yame yestatit. How should I put this? He recalled a conversation with his assistant. How is she doing? The assistant replied, as you can see, she hasn't regained consciousness yet and needs more rest. James pressed, I told you to keep an eye on Betty Brown. The assistant stammered, I apologize. I lost track of Miss Betty in the crowd. James remembered something from the past. Sung-yoon, don't be afraid. Here, take my hand and let's go together. He mused. Betty Brown looks exactly like a childhood friend I lost. I also know that the more I care about her, the more Betty will have to endure. I'm afraid that will happen again. So I assigned my secretary to watch over her discreetly. But I didn't expect something like this to happen. James asked, where's the perpetrator? The secretary replied, he's being investigated at the police station. However, they said they found something unusual about the attacker. There's a black burn mark on his left hand. James wondered, a burn mark. Can you tell me who brought her to the hospital? The secretary answered, about that. At the time Ms. Betty Brown arrived at the hospital, all the CCTV cameras were deactivated. The staff said they couldn't get a clear look because the person was wearing a hat and a mask. However, they said they could see short, smoky blue hair under the hat and large brown eyes. Daniel realized with a jolt, it's the villain, Elin. If that's true, then that burn is Elin's handiwork. So that means he saved Betty while those other unknowns attacked the lab. But they wouldn't save someone without a reason. That means Elin and Depp know Betty. But how does Betty know Depp? Daniel spoke up. How should I put this? Betty, you were mugged last night, weren't you? Betty's eyes lit up. So it really was you who saved me. Thank you for saving me last night. If it weren't for you, I would have been in big trouble. James was completely bewildered. I saved you. Betty replied, yeah, you saved me from the mugger and even paid my hospital bill, didn't you? James, observing her expression, thought to himself, is she lying? No, it seems like Betty genuinely doesn't know what happened. Depp was the one who saved her. He forced a smile. Actually, that wasn't me. My secretary happened to see you collapse and called me. Betty said, oh, it was your secretary. Even so, you still came and helped me. Thank you so much. James continued. I heard you were hurt, so how could I not come and help? Betty beamed. That's awfully sweet of you. James blushed and stammered. No, it's... Oh, he paused. Betty, if it's all right with you, could I have your phone number? Just in case you run into trouble again, you can call me. Betty thought to herself, he did save me, so giving him my number should be okay. She offered her phone. Sure, here you go. Yames Milet. This is my number. If you need anything, be sure to call me, okay? You're free this afternoon, right? Betty replied, that's right. But neither of them realized that Daniel had overheard their conversation. Ouch, I thought my leg had gone numb. I can't believe it. What a coincidence. James, a hero like you, doing this is a bit shady. It seems like he ordered his secretary to keep an eye on Betty because he was worried about her. So he must have figured out that the mugger was connected to me. Daniel recalled Betty's expression while talking to James, and a pang of annoyance shot through him. I was the one who saved you, you idiot. The scene shifted to a different location. Linda, look at this. Linda crossed her arms. What is it? The brown-haired girl said, Betty is such a two-faced fox. She said she never talks to James, but here she is secretly meeting him. The blonde girl next to her asked Betty and James, when was this taken? The brown-haired girl replied, just now after lunch. After that, James said he had something important to do and left without telling Betty. Ooh, this is good. Wow. James dumped Linda for that nerdy girl. Betty sure knows how to seize an opportunity. Linda was furious, feeling like she'd been slapped in the face. The other two girls added fuel to the fire. That's right, Betty is just pretending to be pitiful to cling to James. Exactly. James is a hero. Why would he pass that up? Linda clenched her fists, thinking, Betty Brown, who do you think you are? Then Linda turned to Rachel. You said your parents won't be home this Saturday, right? Rachel replied, right? A wicked smile spread across Linda's face. Let's have a party at your place that day. The star of the party will be Betty Brown. What do you think? The scene shifted back to Betty. This smile feels strange. Do I always have to be like this with customers? A message at this hour. Betty smiled, just as she'd expected. The message was from James. Betty, are you done yet? Ever since she'd given him her number in the music room a few days ago, James had been texting her every few days, mostly sharing mundane details of his daily life. It was like she had a new close friend. No, she couldn't get too excited. James was naturally friendly, and if she wasn't careful, she'd get swept away. She needed to stay grounded. As Betty reached for the doorknob, a bright light shone in her eyes. It was Rachel. Betty, Rachel announced, we've come to personally escort you. Aren't you touched? Don't play dumb, Betty retorted, turning away. Linda invited me to your party. You think I'm stupid enough to go? Rachel grabbed Betty's arm. Hey, are you looking down on me? Betty spun around. Let go. If you keep this up, I'll tell Mr. Marrow that Linda's been drinking at these parties. Huh? Rachel scoffed. Acting all high and mighty now that Linda's not here, are you? But what can you do? If you don't come, Daniel will be disappointed. Such a shame. At the mention of Daniel, Betty froze. Daniel was there. Rachel continued, if you don't want to come, what can we do? We'll just have to let Daniel be the star of the party then. Wait, Betty blurted. I'll go. I'll come to the party. The scene shifted. A car approached the gate as a camera began to scan it. Vehicle approaching. Commencing scan. Vehicle registered to Mr. Depp. Clearance granted. Daniel rushed forward. Eric, what is it? Eric asked. Hunt is coming to Cuvier. Why are you just telling me this now? That's the news from New York just this morning, Eric replied. This was Eric, an A-rank esper with mental powers. He continued, Hunt is already on a plane to Cuvier. And I was going to tell you this morning when I called, but someone hung up on me, didn't they? That was unavoidable. I apologize, Daniel said. Eric turned back to him. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is there's definitely something strange going on here in Cuvier. From James to Kevin, I'm also surprised that 2 S-rank espers have come to Cuvier recently. Even Liam Hunt is here. Hunt's arrival means that Dr. Stefan is still alive. 10 years ago, the truth about unethical human experimentation to create espers was revealed and the lab was shut down. Dr. Stefan, at the center of the controversy, supposedly made an extreme choice. However, what the public knows is just a cover-up. The truth is, that doctor is still alive and well, protected by none other than the U.S. government. But if they sent Hunt to Cuvier just to protect the lab, that's a massive deployment of resources. So I have a theory. Didn't Dr. Stefan succeed in creating an S-rank experiment? Daniel paused, a thought striking him. An S-rank experiment. So that must be it. Then he spoke aloud. Now I understand. No wonder they're pulling out all the stops. Daniel pondered. If this theory held water, there would likely be more victims. They absolutely had to find the lab and destroy it before that happened. Depp, Eric said, about the successful S-rank test subject. If it's true, it will be safer to collaborate with the others to plan future operations. I'm worried James will discover your true identity. Daniel replied, Eric, but we both know what happened in Dr. Stefan's lab. 10 years ago, we were the ones left behind in that lab. We couldn't survive without the guy drugged. You can't stand in the sunlight because of the drug side effects. If there's a way to stop all of this, I won't hesitate. Eric said, that's right. The reason we decided to become the villains is that we don't want any more victims. Just then, Alan raised his hand and said loudly, and for revenge. Daniel walked over. Alan, are you there? Alan shrugged. Yeah, I took a nap. Oh, that was refreshing. Daniel grabbed Alan by the collar. Well, since you're awake, let me ask you something. Why did you take $30,000 from my account yesterday? Alan stammered, about that donation. You said you didn't want to go to hell, so consider it a good deed. Eric, munching on popcorn and watching a movie, chimed in. Wow, Alan, even though you're my friend, you're an idiot. Ouch, now's not the time to worry about this. You're about to die. Oh, I know. That money was for her hospital bills. Daniel asked, surprised. Betty's medical expenses. Alan fiddled with his ear. Her name's Betty, huh? Funny name. Anyway, it was obvious she didn't have insurance or anything, so I had to pay, right? Eric, still engrossed in his movie, asked, who's Betty? Daniel put a hand to his chin. Well, that's true. Alan grinned. Too true. Eric asked again, so, Who's Betty? Daniel suddenly realized something. Wait, Betty didn't have surgery, did she? How could her hospital bills be $30,000? Alan said brightly, $30,000 includes my fee. What the hell? That's what fell off. Alan ran off. You're rich anyway. Daniel muttered, I'm such an idiot. Wait, you used my car to pay all the hospital bills, right? So, that bastard didn't do anything after all. Eric was still confused. No, but who is Betty, anyway? Meanwhile, with Betty, wouldn't it have been faster to do this from the beginning? The party's already started, Betty. The scene shifted to another location. In a room, a man entered, took off his glasses, and loosened his tie. He suddenly realized something. A gun was drawn from behind his back. Hot. Where are you hiding? Immediately after, a gunshot rang out. The person who appeared was Daniel. He used his blue fire power to block the bullet, but his ability was neutralized. Then Liam Hunt spoke. As expected, it's you, Depp. I knew you'd come looking for me. What do you think of my gift? It looks ordinary, but it temporarily paralyzes the abilities of those with superpowers. Similar to a stun gun. Daniel stood up and said, afraid no one would know that damned research institute is good at making toys, huh? Liam Hunt lowered his hands, clapping slowly. Oh, the drug's starting to kick in, but you're still standing. If you were a low-level Esper, you'd be crawling on the floor, screaming by now. Being S-rank makes a difference, huh? But in this state, no matter how strong you are, you'll lose your powers for a while. Without your S-rank ability, you're nothing but an empty shell. Don't try to endure it if you can't, Daniel said, quickly using some unseen power. Scan complete. This time, Daniel caught Liam Hunt's punch, surprising him. Daniel spoke coldly. Liam Hunt, do you still see me as the 5-year-old child from back then? Don't make that mistake again. I've been fighting the monsters you created this whole time. With or without powers, you're no match for me. His earpiece crackled to life. Chief, they're coming. Understood, Daniel replied. Liam Hunt roared. How dare you mention the experiments? Daniel cut him off with a laugh. Don't worry, it's not harmful to your health. Just a normal anesthetic. Eric's voice came through the earpiece. The fire alarm was your doing. Of course, Eric replied. Even in the lobby, we can't risk being caught. Daniel smiled. Sounds good. Forget about that, Eric said. Did you scan Hunt's eyewear? Yeah, perfect replica, Daniel confirmed. I'll head to your base later. Suddenly, Daniel overheard a conversation behind him. Hey, today's the Bookworm's Day, isn't it? Awesome. Haven't had one of these in ages. Can't wait. Another voice chimed in. Everyone's at Rachel's place. Let's go check it out. A party for the bookworm. How pathetic. Betty Brown. Hearing this, Daniel froze. The scene shifted to the party, where whispers filled the air. Heard Daniel's coming, so she showed her face too. Guess they really are dating. Kind of a match made in heaven, both outcasts. Another voice added, poor Betty, your lying friend isn't here to save you. Betty thought to herself, Daniel isn't here, thank goodness. But the real problem is these people. Linda stood above her, arms crossed. Betty, you know what? I absolutely despise that smug look on your face right now. You should be trembling, not glaring at me. Betty asked, Linda, aren't you tired of bullying me? How could I be? Linda retorted. I won't stop until you disappear from my sight. Standing at the edge of the diving board, Betty thought, I'll be leaving this wretched Cuvier in 2 months anyway. But if I let that happen, Linda, how much more will you torment me? She just wants me to suffer. Then Betty spoke aloud. Why do you hate me so much? What did I ever do to you? Linda pointed at Betty. You really don't know. Your very existence is a mistake. Ever since you showed up at my house, everything's been a mess. See, your bad luck finally killed my father. Betty sank into thought. He said the same thing back then. But Uncle Stefan was punished for his crimes. If I reveal the truth, will anything change? She'd overheard their conversation. What happened with the poison accident at Stefan's lab? The blonde boy replied, the research institute concluded it was a normal accident, so the investigation was closed. It was clearly related to illegal activities, though. I absolutely cannot tell anyone the truth. If I do, I'll be kicked out of the house for insulting Uncle Stefan. I'll keep it a secret for now. I know it won't do you any good either, since you're hurting just like me. Still, what's wrong is wrong. She spoke calmly. I'll say it again. Uncle Stefan's death wasn't my fault. You know that. It had nothing to do with me. Linda's veins bulged. No, it is your fault. Betty retorted, don't be absurd. Linda's anger flared. Absurd. Then tell me why everyone around you dies. Your parents, my dad. Oh, and now your uncle too, right? Betty couldn't contain herself. Don't talk nonsense. My uncle is alive. Linda continued, no, he's not. You can wait till the mandarins ripen, but he won't be coming back. You're destined to be an orphan. So get out of my life. With that, Linda shoved Betty into the pool. The onlookers jeered. Damn, that was intense. I got a great shot of that. Check it out. Betty surfaced, sputtering. Linda loomed over her. Know your place. Betty Brown. You think you could be friends with Jim? Dream on. Just rot in that hole for the rest of your life. Suddenly, someone approached. The blond boy gasped, startled. What's he doing here? It was Daniel. If you stay in the water too long, you'll catch a cold. The others mocked him. Whoa, he's actually here to save Betty. Dude, he's like a Gilu brand Prince Charming. The stuttering, dim-witted kind. Ha. Didn't know they were that close. Another boy grabbed Daniel. Betty was furious. Daniel, what are you doing? Let him go. Linda pointed at her. Stay put. If you take one step out of that pool, we'll drown him. Betty had no choice. All right, I'll do what you say. Just don't hurt Daniel. Linda smirked. What's left of your life, anyway? Rose, Royal, let's begin. Rose and Royal replied. Ready when you are. Betty's eyes widened. If only I wasn't a guide. If only I had superpowers. I wouldn't be so helpless. I wish I could just deal with this trash once and for all. Suddenly, a large explosion erupted behind her. Linda's group panicked. What was that? Holy crap, it's a fire. Probably a short circuit. Run. Betty stared at the explosion, bewildered. Could I have done that? Daniel called out, come on. Betty's eyes widened. Okay. Linda and her group shrieked. A hose. Get a hose. Rachel sobbed. What are we going to do? My dad's going to kill me. Linda snapped. Seriously. You're worried about that now. 911. Someone call them quick. Suddenly, a torrent of water erupted, extinguishing the flames. The figure that emerged was Jim. He walked straight towards Linda, then, pointedly ignoring her, approached Betty. He draped his jacket around Betty and asked, what are you doing here? His tone turned serious. Linda, Stefan, I heard there was a party, so I came. But I guess it's unfortunately over now. Mind if I take Betty home? Come on, Betty. You too, Daniel. Linda watched them, trembling with rage. Well, Linda and I certainly aren't getting along anymore. Jim glanced at Betty. Betty, are you hurt anywhere? Betty replied, no, I just fell in the water. Jim asked, Linda pushed you, didn't she? Betty remained silent, remembering what she had endured at the party. Jim, she said, thank you so much for helping me today, but from now on, I don't want you involved in anything between Linda and me. Jim looked taken aback. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you or anything, but Betty, with things like this, it's better if I help you. Betty offered a joyless smile. I can't. I live at Linda's house. I just want to live in peace. She took off Jim's jacket, thinking to herself, I was happy to hear that, but we have to go back to how things were. Betty handed the jacket back to Jim. I'm going home. Then, she and Daniel left. As they walked, she asked, Daniel, shouldn't you be going a different way from here? Daniel froze, searching for an excuse. Let me walk you home. Betty looked at him for a moment. Did you come to that place today to save me, Daniel? Don't do that again. If you get hurt because of me, I'll have to admit that I really am bad luck. You could call me stupid, and I wouldn't even argue. Daniel's stutter vanished. Betty Brown, you're not bad luck. Hearing those words, Betty felt a flutter in her chest. She lowered her head and murmured, okay. Then, lightly gripping his shirt, she stepped closer to him and said, thank you. Sometime later, Daniel lay on the sofa, tossing a ball in the air. Eric, unable to stand it any longer, exclaimed, dude, what's been on your mind all week? You're so distracted. Alan says you're in love or something. Hey, are you okay? Daniel covered his face with his hands. Yeah, I'm fine. Eric continued, I've never seen you like this. You're actually lovesick, aren't you? Struck by Cupid's arrow, Daniel remained silent, prompting Eric to yell, hey, why aren't you saying anything? This is making me anxious. Daniel waved his hand dismissively. I don't know. My head's about to explode. He rested his hand on his forehead, lost in thought. The memory of the pool party that day. No matter what I do, it's stuck in my mind. She's so fragile. Why can't I just ignore her? Then a blush creeping up his cheeks, Daniel confessed, Eric, I think I really like Betty. Eric immediately panicked. Hold on. He quickly put on his headphones. Phew, almost had to hear the L word from the Daniel. The word that doesn't even exist in your vocabulary. Daniel asked, am I not allowed to like someone? Eric, seemingly receiving something on his headphones, said, hold on a sec. Daniel, still confused, muttered, I won't do it. I won't do it, okay. Eric's expression turned serious. It's not that. Something seems to have happened at Mason. The scene shifted. A voice echoed through an intercom. Emergency. Emergency. Connection lost with the test subject. Two figures conversed in the background. What do you mean? Connection lost. This keeps happening. Shouldn't we evacuate? If it's that serious, security should be here by now. Yeah, but it's just us. So, another false alarm. I guess the sensors are still messed up after that villain attack. Well then, let's knock off early. Just a sec. The moment the door opened, a flash of fire erupted. A figure emerged from within, slowly. Run, run. We have to get out of here. Wait, stop. The target was just here. Find him. He can't have gotten far. He's still in the basement somewhere. An older man stooped, picking something up from a floor. Haha, success at last. S-class superpowers. Call Liam Hunt. We can't let this test subject escape. We learn this man is Dr. Stefan. The scene cut to Daniel. Think it's just another low-level villain trying to steal some chew-ding. If so, it's pretty routine. But this is a lot of manpower for a low-level villain. With this much security, they should have him contained. Hunt, you said. Eric asked. Huh, where? Daniel replied. Look at their badges. That's Liam Hunt's special task force. Eric sounded dubious. Seriously, but why hasn't anyone drawn their weapons? Daniel speculated. Maybe containment isn't their objective. And if they're not villains either. Eric trailed off. The test subject escaped then. Security's moving out. So, the test subject really did escape. Daniel turned. That's the direction of Halloran. Eric, can you track Hunt's location? Eric turned back to Daniel. Dude, we don't know what's going on yet. If you're thinking of chasing after them, it could be a trap. Daniel responded, I'll just observe. I won't get directly involved. Eric sighed. Fine, but Hunt's phone changes firewalls constantly, so it'll take a while to track. Daniel gave a confident smile. Even so, Eric, I know it's all in the palm of your hand. The scene shifted to Mrs. Marrow. She wasn't there either. All right, call me if you hear anything. Linda hasn't been home for days. I don't think she even went to school yesterday. Why? Does it even matter if Linda goes out or not anymore? Mrs. Marrow sounded worried. How can you be so calm in a situation like this? I am worried sick. Rose told me everything. You embarrassed Linda at that party. I know Linda's been giving you some trouble, but she's been so unstable since her father died. Did you really have to pick on a child so fragile, both physically and mentally? Betty replied, what do you mean? Just then, the phone rang. Hello. What? Linda, honestly? Yes, I understand. I'll be right there. She hung up. Betty, you have to go too. Betty asked, puzzled, what about me, ma'am? Mrs. Marrow, pacing, replied, well, Linda's in Halloran. I can't search that whole sprawling place by myself, can I? You have to come with me. It's your responsibility. Responsibility. So that was it. Mrs. Marrow reached the door, then turned back. If we don't find my daughter today, you're out of this house too. What are you waiting for? Betty clenched her fists, thinking, just do as she says. Just a little longer. I'll be leaving this house anyway. Until then, I just need to avoid any major incidents. The scene shifted. Jim approached, asking, Mr. Han, what happened? Han replied, Yim, you're late. By the time we arrived, it was already over. I heard an unidentified superhuman attack civilians. Jim said, are these the victims? Han knew did. Yes, their family lived here. Jim was taken aback. An entire family. Yes, Han confirmed, the parents and a little girl. Jim felt a pang of regret. If only I'd arrived sooner. He asked, can you still track the superhuman's location? Han said, we're trying everything to determine their route. We should have a location soon. I'm hoping you'll assist us this time. Because, as you can see, Han continued, there can't be any more victims. Jim's eyes hardened. I'll cooperate. Han turned away. I knew you would. You're a true hero after all. Jim watched him go, his gaze lingering on Han's sleeve. The cuff was distorted, as if burned. The color suggested it was recent. Why would he lie to me? What really happened here? Meanwhile, back with Betty, a police officer stopped their car. There's a checkpoint, ma'am. No vehicles are allowed in or out. Mrs. Marrow fretted, oh dear, is it because of the murders? She turned to the officer. Officer, it's all right in the city center, isn't it? Yes, ma'am, the officer replied. The crime scene is a house in Halloran. Mrs. Marrow sighed in relief. Thank goodness. Betty, chin resting on her hand, thought, what's so good about a murder? Mrs. Marrow turned to Betty. Well, what are you waiting for? Get out of the car. Rachel said Linda came here to get some fake IDs made. You search around Halloran, and I'll check the city center. Here it is. Mon's Ironworks. We fix everything but people, huh? Betty opened the door and stepped inside. Hello. Is anyone here? Nobody home. What's this? Amanda Miller. Honestly, I should contact Mrs. Marrow first. Suddenly, a loud crash came from outside. Startled, Betty hid. Who is that? Her hiding spot prevented her from seeing, but the voice sounded like a child's. A kid with a gun. Should I call 911? Oh no, I dropped my phone when I jumped. The boy's voice shouted, stay back. I'll shoot. A masked man responded, put it down. You can't kill me with that gun anyway. Betty's eyes widened. That voice. It sounds so familiar. The boy pointed the gun at the masked man. Shut up. You want to kill me too? Just like that other guy. He shot Ms. Maji, Mr. John, and Janice. He really did that. The masked man asked, I may be a bad guy, but I'm not like him. The boy sobbed as he fired the gun repeatedly. D. The masked man deflected the bullets with a shield of blue flame. I told you, kid, that pea shooter won't do a thing to me, he sneered. This is the last time I'm asking nicely. Drop the gun if you don't want to get hurt. Betty clutched her phone, trembling. Why is he here? The murder happened in Halern. Could he be the superhuman responsible? Daniel crouched down in front of the boy. Give me the gun, he said gently. You know it's not going to work on me, right? The boy cried inconsolably. No, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Daniel gave a strained smile. So you're not going to put it down? Huh? You keep saying you'll kill me, but you're not very convincing. Dangerous toys aren't for kids. I'm confiscating this. Let go. The boy shrieked. Daniel pulled him away. Easy now. You'll hurt yourself struggling like that. The boy continued to fight back. No, I don't want to. Wow, he's stronger than he looks, Daniel thought. You really won't kill me? The boy asked, his voice small. Daniel sat down. Are you crazy? How many times do I have to tell you? What would I gain from hurting you? The boy sniffled. Then why were you chasing me? Daniel explained, I need to ask you some questions. And I was chasing you to save you. I want to hear exactly what happened back there. I promise I won't hurt you. I'll protect you from a man who hurt those innocent people. Really? The boy asked innocently. Betty, overhearing the conversation, thought, the news has said dozens, no, hundreds of times that he's the craziest, most murderous villain there is. But right now, Daniel suddenly heard a noise. Who's there? A little mouse following me. In a flash, Daniel unleashed his power, a burst of blue flame shooting towards Betty's hiding spot. Betty gasped, terrified. Please spare me. I beg you. I won't tell anyone, I swear. Seeing Betty, Daniel froze. As he took a step towards her, her fear intensified. Daniel seemed to remember his current predicament. Betty, bewildered, thought, why isn't he attacking me? No, more like, why is he letting me go? Just then, the shopkeeper ran back. What's going on? Fire. My shop. Daniel scooped up the boy. Damn it. He channeled a small amount of his power into the shopkeeper's hair and ran. Betty stood there, dumbfounded. What was that? Not long after, the authorities arrived. Hey, that's my shop. What are you doing? Han's voice boomed. Search the area. The shopkeeper approached. Well, what kind of terrorist attack is this? Han asked. You're the shop owner, correct? Yes, this is my shop. But who are you? Han presented his card. I'm Liam Hunt, director of the Superhuman Center. I received a report that a villain broke in here. I need your cooperation with the investigation. The shopkeeper stammered that, so there really was a superhuman here. That explains the sudden burst of flames earlier. Han's eyes narrowed. Flames. Did you see their face? Anyone with them? A young boy, perhaps? The shopkeeper squinted. Well, about that, I didn't get a good look. They were too fast. And I'm sure this girl saw it. She was here before I arrived. Han gestured for his subordinates to apprehend Betty. He approached, feigning concern. Oh dear, why are you being so discourteous to a young lady? Betty was sweating. Since I was little, I've had a sharp mind and exceptional perception, so I can sense that the man before me is dangerous and intimidating. Han said, there's nothing to be afraid of. Just tell us exactly what you saw. It's not difficult, is it? Just relax and tell us. Did you see the villain's face? Betty recalled the boy's words to Daniel. Shut up. You want to kill me too? Just like that man. He shot Ms. Motzi, Mr. John, and even Janice. You're just as bad as the rest of them. She suddenly realized the boy was talking about this man. His face was filled with a murderous aura. If you continue to remain silent, we'll have no choice but to formally request a warrant to investigate you. Betty stammered. I was here, but I was hiding behind the counter, so I couldn't see anything. He pressed her. If you didn't see anyone, you must have heard something. Was there a child with him? She paused, thinking, I'm not protecting that villain, Daniel. I'm doing this for the boy. I can't tell this man the truth. She spoke. I was so scared at the time that I wasn't thinking clearly. When the fire started, I was about to call 911, but the shopkeeper came in. The villain saw him and ran away, so I really didn't see anything. Han glared. You were in the same space, but you neither heard nor saw anything. Being involved with a villain is a matter of national security. So, if we discover that you've lied about something this serious, even as a minor, you won't be able to avoid legal repercussions. Moreover, if the villain is a wanted criminal with a bounty in the hundreds of millions of dollars, it becomes even more serious. Betty was anxious. I really didn't see anything. Han raised a hand and ordered, enough of the niceties. Take her away. Betty struggled. Wait, let me go. Why are you doing this? Han stepped closer. I gave you a chance, and you threw it away. So from now on, don't expect me to be civil. This is just the beginning. Suddenly, Jim arrived. What's going on here? Mr. Han, what's the situation? Han asked, Jim, what are you doing here? Jim replied, Security called me. They said you needed assistance because you'd located the villain. But I don't see any villain here. I just see your men apprehending a young woman. Are you using unlawful force on a civilian? I'm deflected. What do you mean, unlawful force? You're exaggerating, Jim. I'm just questioning a witness related to Daniel. Jim asked, are you at the questioning stage already? To me, it looks more like you're arresting a suspect at the scene. Release her immediately. Don't make me escalate this. From behind them, Betty suddenly called out Jim's name, making Han wary. Do they know each other? That look wasn't just the look of a hero. There's clearly something between them. Immediately, Han ordered his men to release Betty. It seems there's been a slight misunderstanding. Let her go. You can leave now. I apologize for my rudeness, young man, but the matter was rather urgent. Anyway, the villain has escaped, so I'll be going now. Oh, there's something I think you should know, Jim. A civilian managed to capture footage of Depp appearing near the scene of the crime. Jim, watching the video, asked, didn't you say earlier that the lab raid wasn't connected to Depp? Han replied, initially we assumed it was the impulsive act of a rogue superhuman. However, Jim interrupted, are you suggesting someone committed this crime with Depp? Han responded, precisely, which means our heroes need to work even harder. If Depp's accomplices are increasing like this, it will be harder to control that rebel organization. Focus less on the trivial matters. Not long after, Jim led Betty outside. He said, I apologize for the situation earlier, but there's something I wanted to ask you. Betty inquired, what is it? Jim asked, you really didn't see the villain, Depp. A flicker of anxiety crossed Betty's face. Jim is different from Han. Can I tell him the truth? Jim is a hero, someone trustworthy. No, even if Jim is a hero, he's still with the government. He might not protect that boy. Aloud, she said, no, I didn't see him. I was hiding in a corner, too scared. Jim replied, all right, given it's related to Depp, I'm a bit on edge. Betty stammered, no, I understand. Everyone knows Depp's reputation. Jim smiled, thanks for understanding. Betty hesitated, no, it's nothing. But Betty, what are you doing here? Betty suddenly remembered, oh, right. She checked her phone and saw a message from Marrow. Found Linda. We're heading back. Take the bus. A mixture of disappointment and anger washed over Betty. Someone almost got hurt because of Linda, and now the bus. If that's the case, why bring me here in the first place? Jim, noticing her expression, asked, Betty, is something wrong? Betty turned to him, what? Oh, sorry. It's nothing. It's getting late, so I should be going. Jim stopped her. Wait, did you drive here? If you didn't, I can give you a ride. Taking the bus alone at this hour is dangerous. Betty froze, thinking, I don't want to be indebted to Jim again, but it really is dangerous to go alone. She forced a smile. Would that be all right? Jim replied, more than all right. Betty worried silently. I'm sorry, Jim, but I can't tell anyone about meeting Depp today. The scene shifted to the boy and Daniel. Get down, kid. The boy asked, where are we? Daniel replied, where else? The villain's lair. The boy cowered again. You're a bad guy. Why did you bring me here? Daniel retorted, listen, kid, I've told you 1,000,000 times I don't want your life. The boy protested, my name isn't Kid, it's Luck. Daniel sighed, what else would I call a little squirt like you? The automatic doors began to open, and Luck's eyes widened. Whoa, this is amazing. So cool. Daniel urged, it's raining. Get inside. Once inside, Alan asked, hey, what took you so long? Oh, this is the kid. He's smaller than I thought. Daniel grimaced, don't crowd him. You're scaring him. Eric waved, hi there. After everyone had settled around the table, Daniel asked, all right, Luck, can you tell me everything now? Luck, his eyes distant, recounted how a large man in a black suit had arrived, claiming to be looking for someone. The stranger had demanded proof of Luck's superpowers. Then, suddenly, Luck continued, his voice trembling, Motzi, Uncle John, and even Janice were shot. After that, flames just erupted from the strange man. Seeing the boy's distress, Daniel reassured him, that's enough, Luck. Thank you for telling me. Eric raged, Han, that damned good-for-nothing. What can he do besides kill people? Alan grimaced, adding, first civilians, now superpowered individuals. That bastard only thinks about how to create more powered people. It makes sense, though. To build a powerful army, you need powerful weapons. That's their ultimate goal. Seriously, Eric scoffed. Are human lives a joke to them? Damn, even the devil himself would weep at this. Daniel pondered aloud. But where did that superpowered individual go? Letting them roam free is like leaving a bomb in the street. You never know when it'll explode. Alan, equally perplexed, suggested maybe they escaped Choo Choo View. Unlikely, Daniel countered. Han has agents stationed at the toll booths and the airport. They're definitely still in Choo-Choo View. We need to find them quickly. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a figure trudged along the road. Pausing, they muttered, "I need a rest." The figure continued their laborious journey towards Choo-Choo View School. Back with Daniel, Luck had finally drifted off to sleep. Eric turned and asked, "What's up? Is everyone asleep already?" Alan had indeed retired early. "Makes sense," Daniel replied. "You should get some sleep too, Eric. I'll come back and monitor the screens later." Eric, curious, questioned, "Where are you going at this hour?" Daniel stammered, well, I have something to take care of." Eric studied him for a moment before stating, "I know, you're going to see Betty Brown, right?" Daniel asked, surprised, "How did you know?" Eric replied, confidently, "Did you forget my job is to monitor all activities? I'm part of your intel team. Remember, you're worried about her, so you're going to see her, aren't you? Am I right? It's strange, though. What were the odds of you running into Betty at that place?" Daniel, lost in thought, echoed, "Yeah, what were the odds? What was she even doing there? I never expected to see her like that." Eric teased, "So what's your take on this? You like her that much?" "I'm not in the mood for jokes, Eric," Daniel said sternly. Undeterred, Eric continued, "Come on, tell me the truth. If Betty and I were drowning, who would you save first?" When Daniel didn't answer, Eric pressed on, "See, you can't even answer. Alan was right. When you're smitten, you even abandon your friends." Daniel rapped Eric on the head, causing him to yelp, "Ow." That hurt. Daniel clenched his fist. "Keep talking nonsense, and you'll get another lump. I'll be back later, so go to sleep." "Hey," Eric said, "you don't need to go anywhere. She already got a ride home with Jim." Daniel asked, surprised, "Jim?" Eric confirmed, "Yeah, the hero Jim. She knew who he was, so she hopped in. You don't need to worry about Betty." Daniel lowered his head slightly. "I understand. I guess I should put this little guy to bed then." Eric immediately protested. "What? To bed? You said you'd monitor the screens." "Daniel," Eric grumbled, "I said I'd do it when we got back. And now, think. He's waking up now." Eric fell silent, his words trailing off. After they carried the boy into the room, he stirred. "Oh, you're awake?" Daniel asked. Luck, lost in thought, murmured, "What will happen to me now?" Daniel looked at the boy and said, "You'll be taken to live in South Korea. We have a team member there, and it'll be safer than here." Luck hesitated. "What about you?" Daniel smiled. "You don't like sleeping, do you? Something else on your mind?" The boy drifted off, whispering, "Thank you for saving me today. I'm like a hero to you, huh?" Daniel stepped out into the hallway, a thoughtful expression on his face. "This is where I need to be," he decided. The scene shifted to Betty. She glanced at her watch, remembering Jim's words. "Betty, if there's an emergency, press this button. Your location will be sent to me." And this too, Betty had asked, like a tracking device. Jim had fumbled, "You won't have to wear it forever, just until we catch the culprit behind this incident. You might not have seen Depp, but he might have seen you. That's why I'm worried." Mrs. Marrow suddenly spoke. "Oh my God, what's wrong with me? What kind of dream was that?" Linda was also there. "What's that? What was that noise?" "No breakfast today, Mom." Her mother said, "Linda, after school today, you come straight home. Don't even think about going anywhere. Do you understand?" Linda replied, "What? Why are you acting like this?" "I have a movie date with Jay today. I'll come right back after the movie." Mrs. Marrow snapped, "I said come straight home, so come straight home. Don't you dare disobey me." Linda's face fell after being scolded. "I'm not eating breakfast, and I think you should go to the hospital for counseling instead of talking to me like that." Mrs. Marrow raised her voice. "What? You dare talk back to me now? Make sure you come home early." Betty worried, "I need to leave quickly too." Before she could leave, Mrs. Marrow said, "Betty, you're responsible for bringing Linda back here. No matter what, bring her back. If anything happens to my daughter, you're responsible." Betty thought to herself, "As if Linda will listen to me." Then she said aloud, "I'll try, but I can't guarantee I can bring Linda back." Mrs. Marrow bellowed, "If anything happens to Linda today, it's all your fault. Remember that." The scene shifted to Linda. "Hurry up. There's a storage room like this behind the main school building." The blonde boy with Linda asked. "Yeah, nobody comes here. The CCTV is old too." "What's wrong? You seem down since this morning." Linda replied, "It's my mom. I'm tired of her controlling behavior. I just want to move out as soon as possible. I don't understand why she's been so angry with me since my dad died. It's all Betty's fault. My mom should be angry at her, right?" The blonde boy quickly flattered her. You're right. That girl was probably born with bad luck. That's why everyone around her is affected. At this rate, Jim will also be tainted by Betty's bad luck. What should we do?" The blonde boy replied, "Remember Betty's best friend. That wimpy Daniel. Mr. Hero is Jim." Linda, seeing him mock Daniel, burst out laughing. She whispered in his ear, I think I feel better when I'm with you." The blonde boy replied, "Of course, I'm good at this kind of thing." Just then, bare feet wandered out. "Help me, please." Linda cried out in terror. "Hey, you said no one would come in here." The blonde boy trembled too. "I didn't know either. The man manipulated the flames, his voice shaking. I don't want this. Stop. Stop it. Then he shuddered and screamed. The flames suddenly erupted throughout the room. Everyone in the nearby school saw it. What was that? An explosion. Daniel bit his lip. Damn it. That's why I had a bad feeling today. Daniel ran off, and Betty happened to see him. With a superpowered individual was flames raged, and Linda and the blonde boy lay on the floor. The superpowered individual groaned. I didn't mean to do this. It wasn't supposed to be like this. No, I didn't try to kill anyone. Please make it stop. Daniel arrived at the scene shortly after. Linda and the blonde boy lay before him, and the other person, eyes brimming with tears, pleaded, help me. Daniel called Eric. Eric, can you hear me? Eric's sleepy voice answered, huh? What is it? It's early. Daniel said, wake up and check all the CCTV in the school. Eric asked why. What happened? Daniel replied, an S-class test subject is right in front of me. After hanging up, Daniel carried Linda and the blonde boy outside and hurried back inside. Hey, wake up. Damn it. It's not my fire, so it's hard to get close. The other person's voice still trembled. Pete, please, kill me. Daniel asked, surprised, what? The other person begged, because I'm a monster. Please kill me. I'm begging you. Looking into the person's eyes, Daniel thought, I understand that look. A look filled with despair, with nothing but deep pain. A hallucination appeared in Daniel's mind. All hope is lost, isn't it? Let's end this pain together. What do you say? We both know what it's like to want to die. This made the other person's hands tremble. All right, let me help you feel better. Just then, Eric called. Slippers, an ambulance is on its way. Jim's coming too, so get out of there, Slippers. Do you hear me? Slippers, Slippers. The scene shifted to Betty. Daniel, where are you? You're not here. Huh, these are Daniel's glasses. Maybe he's here after all. Back with Daniel, he was in pain. As he took out his medication, the hallucination reappeared. You think this will make you feel better? Wouldn't it be better to just die here? Or do you want to be like that test subject, unable to bear your power, running away desperately, only to die alone in a place like this? What do you say? A laboratory like hell, filled with the sounds of body reaction tests and constant injections. You can't get out. One day, the drugs won't work on you anymore, and then you'll just run around like a madman. Do you want to end up like that? Just as he was about to pass out, a familiar voice called out, Daniel. Daniel, Daniel, wake up. Daniel slowly opened his eyes. Betty. Instinctively, for the first time ever, he felt a thrill, a captivating pull, and along with it, a sense of security. He embraced Betty, murmuring, my dear Betty. The resonance between guide and superpowered individual could be instinctively perceived through their touch. A tingling sensation ran to his fingertips. Betty, bewildered, asked, Daniel, what's wrong with you? Daniel lifted Betty's chin. Betty, he said, do I still seem like that stuttering Daniel to you? Betty questioned, Daniel, what are you talking about? Looking at Daniel, a realization seemed to dawn on Betty. Your slipper, she breathed. Daniel pulled her close again. Yes, Betty, he confessed. It's me. Betty dropped the glasses she held. It's clear he's Daniel. Then the boy I was hugging wasn't Daniel. How could Daniel turn into Slipper in just a moment? Panic seized her. I have to run. She pushed Daniel away. As she ran, she glanced back at Daniel's expression, the question echoing in her mind. Why? Why does he look so hurt? Why, Slipper? Where should I run? I'm so scared I can't stop. In her blind terror, Betty collided with Alan. He steadied her. Oh, are you all right? Betty, regaining her composure, replied, yes, I'm fine. I wasn't looking where I was going. Are you hurt? Alan responded, I'm okay. Betty clutched her shoulder. Ouch. Alan fussed. I'm more worried about you. What should we do? Does it hurt a lot? I should have fallen backward so you wouldn't break a bone. Maybe you should put some ice on it. I really have to go now. I'm in a hurry. I'm so sorry. Betty watched him go. Wait, that person. Just then, the school announcement blared. Attention, there's currently a fire on school grounds. All classes are canceled for the remainder of the day. Any students still on campus are advised to leave as soon as possible. I repeat, Betty slumped to the ground. The whole school, this explosion has caused chaos. Wait, that person is he here to catch Slipper? Suddenly, Jim appeared. Betty, what are you doing here? Betty covered her nose. The smell of smoke. Jim apologized sheepishly. Oh, sorry. I just came from putting out the fire, so I probably smell pretty bad. Fires caused by superpowers are even more toxic. Betty replied, oh, no, it's fine. If the fire was caused by a superpower, does that mean it's related to Slipper? Jim paused, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. Why did you suddenly mention Slipper? Betty stammered, Oh, that you mentioned before that Slipper was connected to the Hala incident. That was a fire too, and now there's a similar fire in the school gym. Jim looked slightly suspicious, but he forced a smile. Well, we'll need to investigate further, but I don't think Slipper caused this. Betty breathed a sigh of relief. I see. Why do I feel so relieved? Is it because Slipper is actually Daniel? But if I think about it, he's just deceiving me. I thought we were friends. Well then, Betty said, looking at Jim. Jim, I have to go home. You have to stay, right? I imagine you'll be very busy. Jim hesitated. Huh. Oh, I do have to stay, but... Betty, don't you need to go to the hospital? Betty asked what? The hospital. Jim continued, you haven't heard. There was a fire in the storage room. Linda and Joseph were inside at the time. They were found behind the storage room and rushed to the hospital. Betty gasped. What? Linda was in the storage room. The scene shifted to Alan. I thought she was just somewhere around here. Eric fretted. Alan, haven't you found him yet? Slipper's going to die. He yelped suddenly. Ow, my back. Alan snapped. Hey, quiet down. Panicking isn't going to help us find him. Eric said, sorry, but I'm so worried I can't sit still. I haven't even gotten a call from him. Alan replied, yeah, well, that's why I'm here, isn't it? The traces left in the gym indicate that Slipper took care of that S-class test subject. However, dealing with a subject that powerful takes a lot of energy, so it's dangerous. Eric asked, is Slipper all right? Alan walked towards Daniel as he spoke. Of course he is. I'll always save those who need saving, but I'm not going to be friends with a lunatic who's in a rush to die. Besides, Alan added, I found him. Hang up first. Daniel smiled. Alan, I'm glad to see you at school. Alan asked, hey, Slipper, I couldn't reach you, so I thought you'd kick the bucket. Still alive, huh? Daniel, still smiling, replied, seeing your ugly mug like this, I guess I'm not dead yet. Alan grabbed Daniel by the collar. What did you say, you little punk? I'll let you off easy since you look so pathetically weak. Daniel stood up. If that's the reason, then maybe you don't need to let me off. Alan, this is the first time my body has felt this light. Alan scrutinized him. Now that I look closely, it is strange. How come you're not injured at all? Daniel glanced at him. Alan, that sounds kind of wrong. Alan asked, puzzled, what happened? Daniel answered, I don't know. I passed out for a while, and when I woke up, I was better. Could it be, do I have regenerative abilities now? Alan was skeptical. Too bad those brain cells of yours didn't regenerate. Anyway, let's get out of here first. Eric's really worried about you. Daniel thought to himself, I'm really sorry, guys, but right now I need to hide the fact that Betty is my guide. I still can't believe the person I like is my guide. Betty, I can't wait to see you again. Back with Betty, after hearing that Linda was also in the gym storage room, she ran off, worried. Jim watched her go, thinking to himself, Betty will be all right, won't she? Just then, Han arrived. Jim asked Mr. Han, was that body the unidentified, superpowered individual? Han replied, yes. And furthermore, the radiation levels have been confirmed to be equivalent to those emitted by the villain Slipper's powers. Jim was suspicious. You mean the villain Slipper killed that superpowered individual? Director, am I the only one who doesn't understand the current situation? You said that at the time of the two previous incidents, that unidentified, superpowered individual was involved with Slipper's organization. Han argued, if Slipper's accomplices keep increasing like this, it will be harder for us to control that rebel organization. Jim questioned, but a few days later, Slipper himself dealt with his own teammate. How can you say something like that? Han replied, I don't understand the situation either. Trying to understand what a crazy villain is thinking is the strangest thing. Jim emphasized, however, until now, Slipper has never killed his own teammates. On the contrary, he's been more actively protecting them. Han clenched his fist and asked Jim, are you sure about all of this? Are you sure you understand the loyalty of a villain? James, if you're not certain about your thoughts, don't ever doubt me, because that's the same as doubting our government. James exhaled softly, thinking he's not wrong, but he's definitely still hiding something. Han continued, this incident was also due to my hasty judgment and decision. It's possible that Slipper and that unidentified, superpowered individual were once enemies, not necessarily teammates. If so, it's not impossible to understand. James said, it's also possible they were teammates and have now become enemies. Han added, therefore, we've decided to thoroughly investigate from the beginning. But before that, we need to handle the press conference. The superpowered individual who attacked the family in Halong was apprehended last night. As for today's fire, it was the villain Slipper's doing. He killed a homeless person and seriously injured 2 students. Just say that much is enough. James was startled. Are you telling me to lie in the interview? Han replied, yes. As a hero, do that to reassure the public. After all, it's the White House's idea, so don't look at me like I'm some kind of criminal. So it all depends on you, Hero James. James responded, I understand. James' face darkened as he thought, That's also why I'm like a dog of the government. James suddenly noticed something, a piece of burnt fabric. The scene shifted to Betty. She received a text message from Eric. Betty, you don't need to come to the hospital. Go home first. I have something to tell you. Betty was dejected. Is it 7 o'clock already? Is Linda's condition not good? Please, don't let it be what I'm thinking. I feel like everything that happened today is so hazy. Am I still dreaming? Whose thorn will I become in the end? And Daniel. No, the most dangerous villain, Slipper. Was everything I knew about Daniel just a fabricated facade? How foolish have I been all this time? Being in a quiet, dark place like this just makes me overthink everything. I'd rather watch TV. The sound from the TV echoed. Yes, breaking news. Around 9 o'clock this morning, a fire broke out at Cookville High School. We will now connect to an interview with Hero James for more details. Was the fire at Cookville High School deliberately set? Does it have any connection to the superpowered individual who killed a family in the previous Ha Lung incident? James said, the culprit responsible for the Ha Lung fire was apprehended last night. We will consider today's fire to be the criminal act of the villain Slipper. The victim was a homeless man who died in a gymnasium storage room, and 2 students from Cookville High School were seriously injured. I will do everything in my power to catch the villain, Slipper. After the television clicked off, Betty sank into her thoughts. He clearly said it wasn't Slipper's fault. Now I don't know what's real and what's not. Just then, Mrs. Nero returned. I have a few things to discuss with you, so please sit at the table. Betty obediently sat down. Mrs. Nero began. I'll be blunt. Linda's condition is very serious. Tomorrow, she'll be transferred to a larger hospital in Nashville. And while we're on the subject of Nashville, I've decided to move out of this house. I've already contacted a realtor and asked them to sell it as quickly as possible. Betty stammered, but just leaving like this right now? Mrs. Nero slammed a stack of cash onto the table. $180,000. This is the life insurance money for my husband's death. It's not enough to cover the $300,000 debt we owe your uncle, but consider it payment for raising you for the past 10 years. So, I hope our connection ends here. Betty's face darkened. Mrs. Nero has already packed everything, the whole house, and me too. She hesitated. Linda, I'll pray with all my heart for her recovery. Mrs. Nero turned to leave. All right then. Oh, Betty, if you're planning on using that money to go find your uncle in South Korea, you should give up on that idea. He left South Korea a long time ago. Betty's eyes widened. She rushed to grab Mrs. Nero's arm. What are you talking about? Mrs. Nero turned back. Like I said, your uncle hasn't been in South Korea for 8 years. Not long after, Betty had packed her own belongings. I've lived here for 7 years, but this is all I have. Oh, I almost forgot this. A somber expression settled on her face as she recalled Mrs. Nero's words. I only heard about it from your uncle's landlord. And a year ago, they lost contact with him after he left Slovakia. Uncle isn't in South Korea. Could something have happened to him, like Mom and Dad? Uncle, you still have me. I disobeyed you, Uncle. I lost control, seeing my only friend in so much pain right in front of me. I couldn't just sit still. But my friend's true identity is the villain Slipper. Could you have known all along? Is that why you told me not to become a thorn? Please answer me. Meanwhile, Daniel stood in front of Betty's house. Is she asleep? She's been inside for a while, but the lights haven't come on. Linda Steffen, her condition is more serious than expected. I heard she's being transferred to another major hospital in Nashville. I came here worried about how the Steffen family might treat Betty. It seems quiet, so I guess nothing happened. I should head back. He paused. Wait, is that luggage? Where's she going? A little while later, Betty arrived at her destination. This is the first time I've been to a hotel. It's not exactly ideal, but where else can I go at this hour? 2 thugs snickered behind her. Hey, little missy, what's with the suitcase? Run away, are we? Nowhere to go. Let's help you out. Betty retorted, I don't need your help. The one with orange hair smirked. Feisty, aren't we? Don't play hard to get. This gentleman here has plenty of cash. If you play your cards right, you might even get some spending money. Think about it. Betty struggled against their grip. Let go of me, or I'll call the police. Orange hair yelled, you little brat. Asking for trouble, are you? I can bury you before the cops even get here. Suddenly, someone appeared and kicked him aside. So, well, before the police arrive, let me introduce you to your ancestors. Orange hair stammered, who are you? Daniel leaned in close, his voice low and menacing. Me. I'm just someone who felt like beating you to a pulp. So, if you don't want to die, scram. After being threatened, the thugs ran off, leaving their shoes behind. Betty spoke up. Shoes. Daniel chuckled. Betty, wait. I don't intend to harm you. so you don't need to be so wary of me. Betty asked, you knew I was here. Were you following me? Daniel sighed. I'll be honest with you, because lying and saying it was a coincidence won't work. Yes, I was following you. Betty's voice was laced with anxiety. You think you can follow me and then tell me not to be wary? Daniel stammered. No, that's not what I meant. Betty's voice trembled slightly. Or, do you want me to become your hostage? Are you going to kidnap me? I'm sorry, but I've never wanted to be anyone's hostage. Daniel replied, I know. I would never take you hostage. I'm sorry for following you. It's probably hard to believe, but just know that I don't have any bad intentions towards you. Betty looked into Daniel's eyes, lost in thought. That same look from back then. Why does he look so resigned? I thought villains were supposed to be brazen. This is exactly like. Then she spoke his name. Daniel. Daniel doesn't really exist, does he? Daniel answered. Daniel is just a disguise to hide my true identity. I'm sorry for deceiving you. Betty turned away. All right, I don't know why you were following me, but you can leave now. If you weren't Daniel from the beginning, there would have been nothing between us. Daniel was silent for a moment, then said, about that, Betty, the fire at the school warehouse wasn't me. I don't know if you're curious about it or not, but I just wanted to say, if you could believe me, that would be good, Betty. After that, Betty went to her hotel room. She collapsed onto the bed, her spirits low after everything that had happened. Just then, her phone received a text message from James. Betty, I didn't like lying to you, so I'm leaving this message. During the interview about Slipper, I spoke as if you were the culprit, but those were all lies. I'm sorry for deceiving you. I'm being deployed to Syria for the next 2 weeks. I hope things won't be awkward between us when I get back. Take care of yourself, Betty. Betty recalled Daniel's words. He wasn't lying. The scene shifted to another location. Han approached and asked, Dr. Park, you're still working here. Dr. Park adjusted his glasses. Oh, you're here too. They were the most successful S-rank experimental subject in years. It's such a waste to just let it go. So I'm looking for any data we can salvage. I mean, their power. How could they incinerate an S-rank experiment like that? Truly the most perfect subject I've ever created. Hee. Han asked, then why not make another one? The doctor replied, I don't like creating people, so I won't. Besides, I've said this before. If you want to create more subjects like this S-rank experiment, you'll have to find that Eastern doctor and bring them back. So stop asking me and go find them. Han answered, yes, I'll definitely find them. He thought to himself, and when I find him, I'll kill that madman with my own 2 hands. Meanwhile, Betty lay lost in thought. $1 billion bounty on his head, a crazed killer, a villain. That's the image I have of Daniel. The incident at the prison, the one in the forest, and the one in front of the hotel just now. He's never harmed me, not once. Could that not be the real him? I'm a little scared, but I think I have to try talking to him. First, I need to sleep. So much has happened today. 6 days later, school had returned to its normal routine. The biggest change was that Linda was no longer attending. Actually, not long ago, Rachel and I had a bit of falling out, but after standing up to her, my school life has become much more comfortable. Although, there's another problem. Daniel keeps following me. See, there he is again. Every time we see each other at school, he does this. What is he thinking? Just then, someone approached. Ah, Betty Brown. Yes, ma'am. Betty replied. The teacher continued. Betty, you know we start winter break next Tuesday, right? Nothing major, but I wanted to let you know there's a rather good internship opportunity available during the break. Your grades are excellent, but you're still lacking in experience. And it's not just anywhere. It's at the Mason Pharmaceutical Research Institute. An internship there would be incredibly beneficial. The Mason Pharmaceutical Research Institute. Betty asked, surprised. The teacher rummaged in her bag. Yes, Mason Pharmaceuticals doesn't usually offer opportunities like this, but they've suddenly opened up an internship for high school students this year. So, when I saw it, I immediately thought of you. Here's the information. Take a look and consider it. Betty took the flyer. Thank you. She thought if this were a week ago, I would have jumped at the chance. But now, I wonder if I can even be an intern. I have some personal matters to attend to, Betty began, so could I have some time to think it over before I let you know? The teacher turned to leave. Certainly. I'll be asking other students as well. Let me know if you change your mind. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Betty replied. A while later, she returned to the classroom. It's a shame to miss that opportunity, but now that I know my uncle is in Slovakia, I just want to focus on finding him. The problem is how. The investigative agency. I wonder if contacting them would work. It wouldn't seem very realistic if I went looking myself. Is he still avoiding me now? The teacher reminded me, Betty, look up. It would be better if he just pretended not to know me. How can he keep lurking around and bother me like this? At this point, I have to talk to him directly. After class ended, Betty flicked a piece of paper down to Daniel. He opened it with trembling hands. I have a few things to discuss with you, so contact this number today. Don't you dare run away. A while later, Betty arrived at the cafe where she worked, but he didn't call. Was I too arrogant with that villain? I treated him like I treat Daniel. Maybe I was unintentionally too casual. I should have just talked to him at school. I'm so sorry, but we're closed. Betty was surprised to see that it was Daniel. Holding up the note, he said, "You recognized me right away, didn't you? You said you had something to talk about, so I came here." Betty pointed and said, "There's CCTV cameras here. Are you okay?" Daniel replied, "It's fine. I disabled them before coming in. Don't worry." "So, what did you want to talk about?" Betty worried silently. "What is this? He avoided me all day at school, and now suddenly he's back to his usual self, which makes me even more nervous." She said bluntly, "I want to make a deal with you." Daniel asked a deal. Betty continued, "Help me find someone, and in return, I'll become your girlfriend." Daniel crossed his arms. "Yesterday, you said you had no intention of becoming my girlfriend. Did you change your mind just to find someone?" Betty lowered her head slightly. "I'm sorry about that. Actually, my only remaining uncle has gone missing. All I know is that the last place he went was Slovakia. The police can't help find foreigners without citizenship. Searching for him in a country where I have no connections, I'm afraid I'll miss something." Daniel leaned closer to her face. "So that's why you need my help. Because if it's me, I can investigate illegally without any obstacles, right?" Betty continued, "Yes. And if being your girlfriend isn't enough, I'll cover all the necessary expenses for the investigation. Will that work?" Daniel pondered for a moment. "All right, your uncle. I'll find him." Betty broke into a bright smile. "Really?" Daniel continued, "But I don't need money, and I don't need a relationship." Betty's face went blank. "Huh." Daniel smiled. "Instead, I have other conditions." Time flew by as they talked. Betty woke up with a start, her alarm blaring. Wasn't it raining? She recalled Daniel's words. "This is a place to create an alibi for my Daniel persona. It's also the first condition of our agreement. Can you stay here? The second condition is that you have dinner with me 3 times a week. If you meet those 2 conditions, I'll find your uncle." Betty wondered, "Wait, I don't understand." "But really, those are the only 2 conditions. You don't want a relationship more than that." Daniel replied, "Yes, but even so, in exchange for this agreement, I don't want to accept your half-hearted instruction. So, first, why don't you get to know me?" Betty, gazing into his eyes, thought to herself, "I can sense his sincerity. He's firmly refusing to let me just pretend to be his girlfriend. It's probably better if I try to understand him little by little." Opening the door, Betty was surprised to find a bag. A sandwich. Inside, there was a note. "I thought you might not have time for breakfast, so I brought this. Also, here's my number. Send me the information about your uncle." "Have a good day, Betty. I probably shouldn't save his number as fake boyfriend, right? This way, it won't be suspicious. Looking back, it's been a while since I've had breakfast. Thank you, fake boyfriend." 3 days had passed since Daniel had prepared that breakfast for her. "All right, class dismissed for today. Betty, your essay this time was excellent." Betty replied, "Thank you." Just then, she received a text from Daniel. "Betty, are you free tonight? Let's have dinner." Betty glanced around. "Is he watching me from somewhere?" "Honestly," she muttered, "I understand." That evening, as Betty was closing up shop, Daniel approached and asked, "Closing up already?" Betty turned and saw Daniel. "Did you dye your hair and put on contacts?" she asked. Daniel, a little embarrassed, replied, "You're making me blush staring like that." Betty, flustered, stammered, What? Daniel opened the car door with a laugh. "Haha, let's get going, shall we?" They both got into the car. Betty, looking at him, thought, "I'm so weak against his looks." After a short drive, they arrived. Daniel said, "This is the parking lot for the theater." Betty's eyes widened. "It's my first time seeing the theater parking lot." Daniel replied, "Mine too. I didn't think I'd ever want to come to a place like this, because I had no one to come with. But today, I wanted to come here with you." Betty asked, puzzled, "But weren't we going to have dinner?" Daniel hesitated. About that, I prepared everything in the back of the car. Just wait a moment." After Daniel got out of the car, Betty blushed. "I didn't intend to get to know fake boyfriend and have dinner with him, but this feels more like a date. I need to get a grip." Daniel returned and asked, "Aren't you going to take off your seatbelt?" Betty said, "I'll take it off now." Both of them smiled at each other in the car. Just as Betty started to feel a little cold, Daniel draped his jacket over her and softly said, "Are you cold?" "I'll turn on the heater." Betty stammered, "Let me do it." Their hands brushed against each other again. Betty quickly pulled her hand back, and the air grew thick with awkwardness. His hand was so warm. "This is bad. I'm too flustered to even watch a movie now. And how did fake boyfriend know I was cold and have a blanket ready?" When Betty glanced over, she saw Daniel looking at her. He leaned closer, making her heart race. "What's this? Why is he coming closer?" Daniel said, "Betty, the movie's over." It turned out he was just fastening her seatbelt. "Shall we go now?" Daniel asked. Betty, flustered, couldn't speak. Daniel continued. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. It's really good, isn't it? Betty replied, me too. She thought to herself, what was I even imagining? Daniel asked, or shall we listen to the radio on the way? Betty stammered, yeah, okay. After the radio started playing a mellow, incredibly romantic tune, the date came to an end. Daniel returned to his usual self. Just then, Eric walked up and said, you're just getting back now. Daniel asked, you're still up, Eric? Eric crossed his arms. You know you're flying to Washington tomorrow, right? Seriously, I don't know what you're thinking, meeting with Betty Brown. The Cookville incident only happened a few weeks ago, so we have to be extremely careful during this sensitive time. You know this better than anyone. Daniel stammered, Eric, about that. Eric stepped closer to Daniel. You've always treated Betty Brown differently, but that's exactly why things got so much worse after we encountered the test subject at school. You even gave up your own house to create a false identity for a classmate, and you send her a sandwich every morning. Betty Brown knows who you are, and she could use it against you. Daniel explained, it's not like that. Eric, first of all, I'm really sorry. I didn't know you were thinking about this so seriously on your own. I'll tell you the truth, but you have to promise me you'll keep it a secret from Ellen and Victor. Eric pressed him. What's the truth you want to tell me? This tense atmosphere is kind of scary. Fine. I won't tell them anything. Daniel spoke slowly. Eric, Betty is my guide. Eric blurted out, okay, Betty is your guide. Wait, what did you just say? Guide. Is this confirmed? I need to tell everyone. Betty Brown is really your guide. Daniel continued. The day I encountered the S-class test subject, Betty saw that I was injured, and the moment she held my hand, it triggered the guide connection. So Betty, she really is my guide. Eric was overjoyed. Yes. All right. Seriously. Finally, you found your guide. Okay, I get it now. Betty will be a huge help. Daniel's face fell. Calm down. She hasn't decided if she'll be my guide yet. Eric's face brightened with curiosity. What? Why? Because you're the villain, so she doesn't like you. Daniel replied. That's part of it, but it's also because of her situation. Eric interrupted. Wait, don't tell me it's related to the information about the person you sent me to find. Daniel answered, yeah, that person is Betty's uncle. She said if I help her find him, Betty will become my guide. Eric asked, well, that's fine, isn't it? What's the problem? Daniel said frankly, I refused her offer. Eric, I don't want her to become my guide just because of an agreement between us. My guide is also someone I like. Really like. Eric turned serious. Those are some heartfelt words. Daniel chuckled softly. If, in the end, she still doesn't like me, I suppose I'll have to let her go. But until then, I'm going to do everything I can to make her choose me. Eric looked at him, thinking, damn, this stubbornness of yours might be the death of you. I want to tell you that, he thought, but I'll have to be the perfect gentleman and pretend to support my friend. I get what you mean. Instead of being passive, use that handsome face of yours to charm Betty. Daniel grinned. All right, I'm pretty handsome too, you know. The scene shifted to Betty's perspective. Another note today. Depp always includes a note in the bags with the sandwiches he sends me. Even though it's just a good morning greeting, it makes me happy to read it. Different content today, huh? Betty, you're probably reading this after I've already boarded my flight to Washington. Due to some personal matters, I won't be in Cookville this weekend. I'm a little worried about you, so I'm leaving you this note. All right, well, have a good day today. And don't forget your breakfast. Make sure you eat it. He didn't mention anything about this yesterday when we were together. Washington, why do I feel a little disappointed? Be careful. Depp, sending a text like this should be okay, right? Looking back, this house, even finding my uncle, I'm relying on Depp for everything. When will I no longer need his help? For now, until my uncle returns, I want to show him how much I've grown. I'm trying to do what I can. Hello, Ms. Ich. I'd like to talk to you about the internship. The scene changed to a different location. You called a taxi, right? After getting into the car, Daniel removed his mask. I still can't get used to this, no matter how long I wear it. The man driving spoke, but thanks to it, we haven't been caught easily, Depp. Daniel replied, well, not everyone has Eric's godfather. You sound just like him, Victor. They arrived in an old mansion in Washington, D.C., known as the residence of a brilliant doctor, Dr. Ian. But in its basement, everyone's here. Selena and Moon Lee, who are on this mission with you, are waiting in the study. Daniel smiled. Is that all you have to say after all this time? How disappointing. This place is the secret headquarters of the villainous organization, Depp. If we keep rescuing people in the shadows like this, one day it'll backfire on us. Dr. Steven has released the S-rank test subject. It's time we revealed the truth. He gestured. This is Selena, a rank teleporter in charge of the Washington area. And this is Moon Lee, a rank superhuman, also in charge of the Washington area. Daniel said, shouldn't we all calm down and sit first? Moon Lee added, either way, I think we need to discuss this. Keeping it hidden won't do any good. Daniel sat down and said, but if we don't have proof, even if we tell the truth, it'll just be dismissed as a conspiracy theory. Selena replied, that's the problem. Everyone wants to know the truth, but in reality, they prefer exciting conspiracy theories. When these rumors spread by word of mouth, Daniel mused, people will start to wonder if it's true, and then they'll start to doubt the government. He paused, then asked, so how do we spread it now? If we do it directly, it'll have a bigger impact, but credibility will be an issue. Moon Lee brought out a laptop. Take a look at this, she said. This is a list of active YouTubers across all countries. The criteria for selecting YouTubers are those who create mysterious, current events content and have over 5 million subscribers. All we have to do is leak the information and documents to these people. Daniel crossed his arms. What's this? Everyone except me has a plan. Huh? Victor, standing nearby, replied, we thought ahead, so our captain wouldn't have to rack his brains. Daniel reached out and took the laptop. For now, the risk isn't high, so it should be fine, right? Instead, the question is what documents we should give them. Selena offered a suggestion. How about giving them information about Dr. Steven? Daniel considered this. The information about Dr. Steven's death is old news. It would be better if we could talk about more recent events. Selena pondered. Recent events. Moon Lee chimed in. How about Cookvin? The S-class test subject incident that appeared in Hanoi and in the school. Victor thought it over. Cookvin. Ooh, that could work. Daniel spoke up decisively. Good. We'll use a voice changer based on the testimony of the witness from the Hanoi incident. Since we have a tech expert on our side, we should also create some fake evidence to add credibility, don't you think? What do you all think? Okay, Selena muttered under her breath. He's probably had that villainous streak since he was born. That's a good idea. We agree. Following the discussion, they had a small celebration. So, I'm going to kick him in the shins and run away. I'm not going to follow him anymore. Mongun complained, hey, how many times are you going to repeat that? Meanwhile, Daniel was on his phone when Victor approached. What are you doing out here alone? Daniel started, surprised. Victor, why aren't you inside drinking? Why did you come out here? Victor replied casually, just came out for some air. Getting old, you know. Sitting in one place for too long gets tiring. Did you get a text from your girl, and that's why you're out here? Daniel grinned. Yeah, Betty texted. His expression suddenly faltered. Wait, how did you know that? Victor responded, how did I know what? Isn't it obvious? Daniel fumed silently. That Eric, I swear, I've never known him to keep a secret. He's always told Victor everything. Victor sighed inwardly. You're still just a kid, just like back then. He ruffled Daniel's hair. Enough chit-chat. Get some sleep. Daniel grumbled, I know. Still think I'm a child. Victor turned to walk away. And you're an adult now. To me, you and Eric are still just kids. Victor Johnson. He was originally a soldier working under Hunt. But when we were left behind at the lab, he happened to find us, and he was the one who got us out of there. The fact that I didn't lose my humanity, and the fact that the organization exists as it does now, is all thanks to Victor's efforts. Then he spoke. Victor, I've always felt incredibly grateful to you. Victor closed his eyes. Grateful for what? For me, the best thing I ever did was betray Hunt and save Depp and Eric. And Depp, thanks to you, I'm where I am today. All right, Dr. Steven's experiments will be over soon. I can't waste the opportunity Victor created for me. Now the real fight begins. The scene shifts to Betty. Snow is falling. It's snowing. When it snows, it's time for winter break. That also means my internship at Cookvin won't last much longer. And my part-time job ends tomorrow too, huh? Is it almost Christmas already? I usually spend the end of the year alone. Just then, she received a text from Daniel. Tacos for dinner tonight. Sound good. I'll get the best tacos in all of Cookvin, so look forward to it. Betty smiled happily. This Christmas feels different from last year. Her boss, Mike, approached, reeking of alcohol. Betty, you finished your hours, right? Betty replied, yes, sir, I have. Mike pulled out some cash. Here, this is your pay up to today. Betty questioned, but sir, I work until tomorrow. Mike turned away, his voice booming. What's the difference between today and tomorrow? Take it and get out of here. Ungrateful little brat, working your fingers to the bone for pennies. Not even a thank you. No wonder they call orphans ungrateful. That was the last straw. Betty grabbed his arm. You need to apologize for what you just said. Mike turned back, incredulous. What? Apologize? Betty responded firmly. Yes, apologize for what you just said. Mike glared at her. Why should I apologize to you? Huh? You're the one who should be apologizing for grabbing me like that for no reason. Betty argued. If you were a decent person, you would have paid me minimum wage from the start. If you don't apologize, I won't let this go. Mike roared. You won't let it go. What are you going to do about it? Betty held up her phone. You won't apologize. Then I'll report you to the police for violating child labor laws videos regarding working hours and minimum wage for minors. Mike flew into a rage. I thought you were a pitiful kid, so I was going to let it slide. But now you're going to stab me in the back. He raised his hand to strike Betty, but someone caught it. Who are you? Mike demanded. Daniel looked at Betty. Betty, are you okay? Mike blustered. You're the punk who brought the money to the bar. Betty Brown, bringing your boyfriend along. Huh? Really determined to go up against me, are you? Betty stared, taken aback. Daniel sighed. Oh, this guy? Aren't you going to let go of my hand? Mike yelled. Let go. Daniel released his grip, sending Mike stumbling. You little brat. You did that on purpose. Daniel turned to Betty. Betty, let's go. This guy isn't worth our time. Mike shouted after them. Where do you think you're going? You're not leaving until you cough up that money. Betty spoke. Daniel, wait outside for me a moment. I need to have a word with Mr. Mike. Okay, Daniel replied. Betty handed the money to the man. Here you go, she said. You're the one who should be pitted, not me, she continued. The bills reeked of alcohol. I don't need this anymore. Seeing Betty emerge, Daniel rushed to her side, worried. Betty, are you all right? He didn't say anything inappropriate, did he? You have no idea how scared I was when he tried to hit you. Betty offered a happy smile. It's okay because Gidge was here. Everything's fine now. I've settled things with him. Seeing her bright smile, Daniel softened. Note, Gidge is a Chinese term of endearment often used for an older brother or male figure. Since Betty has accepted Daniel as Gidge, I'll call him that from now on. Gidge said, good. That's good. People like him deserve to be taught a lesson. Betty dipped her head slightly. Also, Gidge, he mentioned something about the stack of money. I thought Ram was the one who brought it to me. Can you tell me what happened that day? Gidge began to recount the events. Betty listened, surprised. You were the one who saved me from that alleyway. And you were the one who brought the money to my boss. Gidge scratched his head. Sorry for unintentionally keeping it from you. Betty waved her hands dismissively. No. At that time, I only knew you as Daniel. So even if you had told me, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But even though it was a while ago, I still want to thank you. Ever since we met, you've always been helping me, Daniel. Gidge smiled faintly. It was nothing. Shall we go now? We should get those tacos. Betty beamed. Okay. Looking at his back as they walked, Betty thought to herself, I can't believe Gidge was the one who saved me from that superhuman back then. If that's the case, why did Jim lie? The scene shifted to the Superhuman Center in Washington. I was summoned to the White House immediately after returning from Syria. As expected, they see me as nothing more than a trophy. This is insane. That Syria mission, putting me on the front lines from the start, was just a political stunt. And the person I miss hasn't called me even once. Nearby, two people gossiped. So Jim lied. That guy's a hero. Of course, he didn't. Haha, if that were true. Jim appeared, a smile playing on his lips. What lie are you talking about? They stammered, that about the fire at Cookvin High. If Depp wasn't the one who started it, then what's the truth? What are Hero Jim and the Superhuman Center trying to hide? That's just some iTunes news. It's just, Jim began. Don't watch those nonsensical videos. If you're caught, you'll be punished immediately. Back home, Jim listened to the news report. Does everyone remember the massacre of that family in Hanoi? The police identified Depp as the culprit, but the surviving witness's testimony is completely different. And right after that, another fire-wielding superhuman, an unidentified rank S villain, pointed to the true perpetrator. At first, I didn't believe them, but they provided recordings and images that corroborated the witness's testimony. This is a photograph of a man taken the day before the fire at Cookvin High School. Forensic analysis confirms it's unaltered, but according to Hero Jim, the Cookvin fire was caused by the villain Depp. So, is Hero Jim lying? Jim sank into thought. The one who forced me to give that false interview was Liam Hunt. Is this the outcome he wanted? What are they trying to hide? From the beginning, there were more than a few oddities. The fire's traces were too scattered and obvious. Depp couldn't have done it. Besides, even Betty didn't know Depp was the culprit. I'll have to go to Hanoi tomorrow. Since the police are on Hunt's side, I can't trust their investigation. If Hunt is truly behind this, I'll admit to lying about Depp. That's what a true hero would do. At a nursing home in Slovakia. Is there something I can help you with, sir? I'm Liam Hunt. I heard there's an unidentified Asian man here, and I've come to check. This is the 10th person I've looked at. Is this finally him? A year ago, an Asian scientist disappeared after a chase, leaving only a wrecked car behind. And I have to find him. The formula, the one that could transform test subjects into rank S superhumans. It wasn't Dr. Stevens' achievement, but that of an East Asian scientist working under him. Is this finally Dr. Yunjin Hyun? Liam Hunt stepped inside. This wasn't Yunjin Hyun. Someone approached. Director, you have a call from headquarters. Hunt took the phone. Yes, sir. The voice on the other end barked. Why haven't you been answering? Do you know how many times I've called since yesterday? Hunt replied, I wasn't paying attention to my phone. I apologize, sir. The white-haired man raged. Forget the apologies. Get back to the U.S. immediately. That villain Depp has caused another incident. Everything's in chaos. The head of the Superhuman Center is out of the country and unreachable. Do you think I wouldn't be furious? Hunt paled. I sincerely apologize. I'll return and take care of it right away. Book the earliest flight. We're returning to headquarters immediately. His subordinate replied, Yes, sir. Hunt said, Since this isn't the man we're looking for, we'll be going now. The other man replied, Certainly. Safe travels. After Hunt left, the man approached the hospital bed. They're gone now. The scene shifted to Depp. 1, 2, 3, it's time. Success. Eric whispered to Alan. He's the only lunatic in the world who'd use rank S superpowers to grill me. Alan replied, Thank goodness he's the only one. Couldn't have said it better myself. Haha. Depp brought out a plate of food. Stop your nonsense and try it. See if it's any good. Eric bolted. I just remembered I have something to do. See ya. Alan was getting nervous. Hey, I think I'll go too. Depp quickly stopped him. Where are you going? Alan, sweating, stammered, Why me? Depp squeezed Alan's cheeks. Eric's always busy. Now, open wide. Alan resisted. No way. Everything you've ever made is either burnt to a crisp or practically raw. Eric, SOS. Eric replied, Alan, I will remember your sacrifice. Suddenly, Eric's eyes caught something on the screen. Depp rushed over. What is it? Something wrong in the lab. Eric pointed at the monitor. Not that. It's Betty. She's in the lab. The scene shifted to the lab. A woman spoke. I'm Eleanor Lopez, and I'll be overseeing and managing this internship program. Throughout the internship, you'll be divided into groups of 4 and assigned to various departments. You'll be assisting with research here. I say assisting, but it's mostly going to be menial tasks, so don't worry too much. Someone raised their hand to ask a question, but Eleanor cut them off. Oh, by the way, there's no Q&A time here. Remember that. Betty thought to herself. She didn't need to be so blunt about it. Someone beside her muttered, That's harsh. Oh, did I say that out loud? Betty thought, When did she get next to me? I see myself in her, drowning in grief. Betty initiated a conversation. I'm Betty Brown. Just Betty is fine. The girl replied, I'm Rayleigh Miller. Call me Rayleigh. Betty smiled. Okay, Rayleigh. We might be in the same group, so let's help each other out. Rayleigh smiled, thinking to herself, she seems nice. She's actually talking to someone like me. Oh no, she started the conversation, and now it's hit a dead end. I need to find something to say. Rayleigh asked, Hey Betty, have you seen that video? Betty inquired, What video? Rayleigh continued, That mysterious video on YouTube. It's been trending for days. You haven't seen it. Betty hesitated. Yeah, I don't really use social media much. Rayleigh pressed on. Oh, really? But even so, you must know about the Cook Vin and Ha Lerm fires, right? Depp didn't cause those. Betty was stunned. What? Shocking, isn't it? They even released the witness recordings. Doesn't that mean Hero Jim is deceiving the public? Betty thought, this is Depp's plan. Just then, she received a text from Depp. Betty, are you free tomorrow night? There's something I really need to talk to you about. Betty thought, it can't be anything bad, right? The next evening finally arrived. Depp asked excitedly, so how is it? Does it suit your taste? Betty gave a thumbs up and subscribed to the PH review channel. Oh, it's delicious. This is the first time I've had something this good. Zet be met. I didn't think you were such a good cook. Depp's eyes sparkled. Great. Try the spaghetti too. I made it, so it's probably even better than the cake. Betty took a bite, making Depp blush. Depp, you should try some too. Depp recalled Eric's words from the previous day. I saw an announcement on the homepage a while ago. It seems Betty is interning at the Ma Sun Research Institute. Tomorrow, another expose video about the Ma Sun Research Institute will be uploaded to YouTube. Alan asked worriedly, do you think that will affect her? Should we advise her to stop the internship? Depp replied, no, it can't. Betty's decisions are her own. Depp stated firmly. That's something I can't interfere with. Eric questioned, so, should we halt our plan then? Depp countered, no, proceed as planned. Eric, concerned, pressed further, Betty could be in danger. Are you sure this is okay? Depp's grip tightened. Yes, he replied, his voice strained. Back in the present, he looked at Betty, thinking, it'll be all right. I thought it was a perfect plan, that it would go smoothly, but I can't believe it's run into such unexpected problems. And Betty could get hurt. I'll never let that happen. Betty, lost in her own thoughts, mused. Depp's been preoccupied with something. Finally, she spoke. Depp, about what happened today? Do you have anything to do with that YouTube video? I happened to see it and heard the witness testimony. Did you post it? Depp admitted, yes, that's the recording of the boy who was with me at the hardware store. Also, this week, the security footage from a Ma Sun Institute from the day of the Cookvin incident will be released. Betty's voice rose in surprise. The Ma Sun Institute. Why? Don't tell me that incident is connected to the Ma Sun Institute. Depp confirmed, yes, there's a deep connection. Looking at Depp, Betty thought to herself, he's definitely preparing for something big, and it probably has to do with truths I don't know about him. All I know is he's too good to be a villain. Betty suddenly blurted out, Depp, why did you become a villain? Depp looked at her, surprised. Huh, what? Oh, sorry, Betty stammered. If it's personal, you don't have to tell me. Zepchuka. Aitezukai. Betty, do you remember Dr. Stephen, the one who discovered a meteorite 10 years ago? Betty replied, yeah, the mad scientist who died a few years back. Depp continued, it might be hard to believe, but Dr. Stephen isn't actually dead. He's still very much alive. Betty gasped. What? Depp went on, there were a lot of complaints about his cruel experiments. But to the government, he was the one creating immense power, like superhumans. So, they felt it would be a waste to kill him. They faked his death as a suicide and let him continue his experiments in secret. He performs horrific experiments on people, all to create superhumans. You probably saw it on the news, the report about the villain organization attacking the labs at the Ma-Sun Pharmaceutical Institute. Like we announced, we only stole medicine and never killed any researchers. Our main goal was to rescue the people trapped in the research facility, and this time, the target was the Ma-Sun Pharmaceutical Institute's lab in Cookvin. Betty's eyes widened in disbelief. So that's why you released the YouTube video. Oh my God, you've been doing good this whole time. Depp looked down. It's not good. When you get to the lab, you'll see that most of the test subjects are children and they have different numbers marked on them. Those are their names. And Depp began to take off his shirt. Betty looked at him, thinking to herself, I feel a pang of shame. I've been so naive, thinking villains were just inherently bad. Depp revealed the number 8 tattooed on his shoulder. Since I was a child, he said, I've been in a lab. They call me number 8. After my friend and I escaped, Depp continued, we've been planning our revenge against Dr. Stephen. So, I can't really say that finding the other test subjects is for purely altruistic reasons. My friends are Eric and Alan. I'll introduce you to them later. He paused, his thoughts racing. This is so hard to tell her. She must be freaked out. Does she even believe me? If she believes me, she'll pity me. Even though it's just a sliver of pride, I don't want pity from the girl I like. Betty's voice broke the silence. Depp, she began, you're amazing. I know it sounds cliche right now, but even with all this weight on your shoulders, you're still so kind to me. Her thoughts drifted. Even before Depp knew who I really was, he was always there for me, never abandoning me, no matter how difficult things got. Now, I want him to lean on me. Betty offered a bright smile. Depp, she said, thank you. Thank you for knowing me. I'm so glad we met. And thank you for telling me all of this. An unspoken emotion stirred within Depp. I suddenly wonder if we feel the same way. Something more intense than friendship. There's this warmth that radiates between us when we're together. Depp, emboldened, confessed, I like you, Betty. I like you a lot. He added, breaking the fourth wall. That's all for today, folks. Let me know what you think of this story in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to catch the next episode. And be sure to recommend other exciting stories. Thanks for watching.